Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I've got Tish from Python Spawn joining me tonight. Thank you so much, Tish, for joining us. Are
Oh,
you?
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Now, Tish is based in New York, so we're going to do a little bit of background on where she's from and what she's doing. She's a ball python breeder, and she keeps some other reptiles. So, welcome everyone to the channel. I think we'll kickstart with the with my intro, and then we'll do Tish's intro, and then we'll get down to some really good discussions tonight. And we'll just I've got several technology here, so just bear with me as I get this to work. So we'll start off with my intro. Okay, and now we're going to switch over to Tish's intro. If I can get this right, here we go. I think that's fantastic. I love the graphic on that, Tish. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really do like it. I need to get a professional to help me with mine, and I know I've got to invest a bit of time. Let's see if I can go wide on the screen here. Just bear with me a second. Perfect. There we go. So yeah, tell me, Tish, how long have you been keeping reptiles, and tell us a little bit about how you got into reptiles yourself and how you decided to go into breeding.
All right. Um, so I've had reptiles pretty much since I was about 12 or 13 years old. My mom didn't let me have dogs or cats, so reptiles was the next best thing. And as soon as I got them, I was hooked. There was nothing else more to say. They were just so unique, and I felt like I could relate. Um, at the time, I was living in Florida, and there was reptiles everywhere, and I was already herping without even knowing what herping was. So I thought that was kind of cool when I actually got into it, and I actually got my first ball python, and I had some lizards and the really long-tailed tiny little lizards. Those were my first lizards I ever had.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, how I how I got into ball python breeding. So I was actually just scrolling on YouTube, and there was a video that just caught my eye, and it was somebody cutting open eggs. Happened to be Billy from Mutation Creation, and that video. I watched it. I was amazed. I was like, huh. So he kept coming out with them, all of the egg cuttings. I guess it was the right time of year that I saw them, and it was just extremely fascinating. And I already had ball pythons in the house, so I was like, why not try? So one snake turned to two snakes, turned to three snakes, turned to this, and
Your
that's pretty
journey's
much how that happened.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. I mean, your journey is very similar to mine, Tish, because I remember watching Billy cutting all these eggs, and I was thinking, this is fun. This is like having a Christmas day every day. I really liked it,
Yeah.
and I got into it from
Yep.
my son. My son Jared, he had ball pythons a couple of years before I started, and he got his first clutch of four eggs, and he showed me these babies, and I was just amazed by the whole experience. And I was actually scared of reptiles, or at least snakes, a couple of years ago. But he helped me to overcome my phobia, and then I started handling his hatchlings, and I fell in love with them because Emily, my daughter, she's very similar to you in the sense that she's 18, but she's an animal lover. And I know that in the past, I mean, I've been studying your YouTube channel, and your journey is very much linked to animal welfare because you've been helping with horses, dogs, cats, veterinary. When you actually look at your background, you've got an amazing background linked to animal welfare. That it's a very natural progression for you going from that kind of background coming into keeping and breeding reptiles, assisting vets. Because my daughter Emily's training to be a veterinary nurse, And I know that you've been doing some of that. And also, I know you've been working for a guy called Rob from Designer Balls,
Yeah.
who kind of
Yes.
been teaching you as you've been helping him in his facility. And I think that's
Oh yeah.
fantastic. What a wonderful opportunity to learn from someone that's been doing it for quite a long. Would you say he's your mentor, or would you say he's one of
Oh,
your mentors?
he's definitely my mentor. He's one of them, but he was the first. And he has been amazing. He actually offered me a job when I bought a couple of snakes from him. I was like, I love your collection. I'd love to help you out. He was like, here, come on over on the weekends and help me out, and I'll show you a thing or two. I was like, okay. So started doing that. I mean, the majority of my collection comes from him. I would say at least 60% of my snakes have come from him, and
Brilliant.
that is through, whether he gave them to me or I bought them before, like I actually started working for him, or I worked them off. So cleaning cages, I never really took money. I very rarely took money from him. It was either going towards rodents because he has a lot of animals, so he had a lot of rodents. So tacking on a couple for me in the beginning when it wasn't so many was not that big of a deal. So he would tack on the rodent instead of paying me, and then that transitioned to getting more funds for snakes. So instead of tacking them on for rodents, now we were putting a little fund for snakes, and that's how I was able to fund a lot of my projects. Really, it was working it off for Rob, and that's how I got Wookiee. That's how I got a couple of things that I didn't think I would get in a million years.
See, I
At
think
least.
that's a lovely journey. I love it because Jad and I are putting in a lot of sweat equity. We've put some money into our collection, but we are working our socks off to achieve the morphs that we want going forward. But we've invested quite well initially. And I love the fact that you're helping Rob out. And first of all, because you're probably doing a lot of the cleaning, I know he's got very high standards, which means that you're buying quality snakes. So besides having a wonderful
Mm-hmm.
mentor that can show you how to do things and troubleshoot and help you on your journey, the quality of the snakes you're taking into your collection, 100% where they're coming from. They're reliable, and you know that they're going to be well maintained, and the husbandry is going to be first class. And I think that's a really lovely, comfortable way of starting your hobby, because when we're buying from Europe or when we're buying from other people around the world, we do base it on trust, and you don't necessarily know the person, you haven't seen their
Mm-hmm.
facility. I mean, it's so easy to come unstuck. So I think you're starting your hobby with a reliable breeder that you're working in the facility. I mean, if you take Austin and his setup, King Austin that works for Creation
Billy,
Mutation,
yeah.
Billy. I mean, he's got beautiful snakes. He's well knowledgeable. He knows his husbandry because he's looking after a massive collection there, and he's well positioned to build a lovely business for himself. And I think this is a lovely way of doing it, is to actually go and work for someone, and then when you feel comfortable and confident, start your own little business on the side and see where it goes. Because I think I'm very excited for you, because I'm on a similar journey, kind of starting similar times, have a similar backstory, which is lovely. So thank you for sharing that with us. I'd like to,
Oh
if
no,
it's
of
okay,
course.
yeah, I'd like to, Tish, if it's okay, welcome. There's quite a few people in the house, and it would be amiss of me not to welcome all our guests as well. So I'm just going to take a few seconds to welcome. First of all, we've got Celtic Balls. You may know them. This is
Mm-hmm.
Angie and Jeff, who are wonderful people. They've got a similar journey to us. They're starting off in the last year or so, and they've got a lovely collection. So thank you for joining us tonight. We've got Jeremy again. He's in a very similar situation. Just started breeding in This is his second season, so I think he's subscribed to your channel, and I think you.
Yes, I this so far definitely these people are subscribed. These youths. Yeah, I get those comments. Yes,
Yeah,
there's a repetitive on who I see the most that watches my videos and comments, and loyal, definitely
yeah.
loyal.
Yeah, they're very, very good people, because what I find is that when you've got really good people that not only watch your videos but always give you positive feedback, you do look for that, and it encourages us to put out more content, I think. That positive vibe and
N-
appreciation.
not only positive vibe, but honesty. I actually get a lot of honesty, not only on the comments, but when they DM me, and that actually gives me the opportunity to readjust. If there's something wrong that they see that I haven't seen, or there's something that I could improve on, that is huge for me. That's huge, because what a lot of people, I think, fail just because I'm on YouTube, fail to remember is that I'm just as new. I mean, I may have kept reptiles for a long time, but not in this quantity, and not in the variety of genetics, or even just owning different species. Not just the bloods. I have the bloods. I have geckos. I have the rodents. Everything is a new journey for me. And when somebody can help me, and before I even realize that something is wrong, is huge for me. I appreciate that so much. They don't even understand. Like, anything that, even as much as, I can talk about that forever. It's just crazy, the support that you get from everybody in this community.
I agree. I mean, we've made some lovely friends in the last couple of years, and I think your YouTube channel, you've launched it. Was it back in? It's only about a year old, isn't it? And you've already hit 1,000 subs.
It's turning a year. Yep, it's turning a year.
Can I just say many congratulations for hitting 1,000, because we've kind of been on a very similar journey, and we both give out various incentives to encourage people to jump on our channel. And one of the things I was going to say is that what impresses me about your channel is that you get a lot of views. If you work out the number of views you get per followers, it's very high.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good stat.
Yep.
So if you've got 1,000 views and you're hitting an average of 500 or 600 views on 1,000 subs, that is almost unheard of. Now, what that tells me is that your following is loyal, and it also tells me there's probably a lot of people that watching your channel that haven't got around to subscribing, perhaps, and maybe, that there could be a bit of that. But I think the majority of the people that are on your channel really enjoy your content, and they back you and love you. And I think this is very complimentary, because I've seen people with 4,000 subs and they're getting less views than you.
I mean, you're not the first person to bring that up. So when I look at my analytics on my videos, the majority of my views come from the people that are subscribed to me. There's only like 10% from not subscribed, not even 10%.
Wow.
That's not subscribed.
That's
it's insane. It's like everybody that watches me is subscribed, and they're consistent. They're constantly watching every single week. And I've even gotten my little blowbacks for the 2 weeks that I missed back in when I had COVID, and when it was, they're like, "Hey, what's going on with the I'm sorry, I'm on vacation, and then I got COVID. I apologize. We'll be back. We'll be back to normal."
I think it's lovely. I think that's lovely to get that kind of feedback, because it shows that people really look forward to your weekly shows. And I'm sure you're natural. I've seen you interviewing Justin Kabelka on one of your shows, and when you visited various...
I was so nervous. Oh,
you did
no.
Honestly,
when you said no, I was so nervous. One, he's tall as crap. I'm like looking up to him, and it's like I actually look up to him. Not only physically, but like mentally too. I watch his videos. To be able to meet him would be the equivalent to meeting Billy from Mutation Creation, or like Brian Barczyk or Miguel, any of them. It was that equivalent, and I was so nervous. You have no idea how nervous I was.
I'll tell you didn't show it, and you asked some beautiful questions, and there was a lovely rapport going there. And I take my hat off to you. I think you'll be if you decide to do live shows yourself, Tish, if you decide to do it sometime, you are an absolute natural, and you'll have a wonderful, wonderful time. I know it's something that we all kind of consider, but I think coming on these shows and joining us on these shows from a guest perspective is a lovely way of cutting your teeth, because you get used to the technology, you get used to the format, you get used to the comradeship, and you. I feel like I'm tonight. You're inviting us. Your entry to your videos. I love it because you invite us into your facility. It's so welcoming, and I think no one else does that. And honestly, I think it's brilliant. I think it's a brilliant idea. If I had a good Wi-Fi system in my facility, I'd do all my lives in there and be welcome people in. I tell you, I think it's just great. You're just a natural. You're absolute natural.
One of my good friends, Kylan from Bomb Projects, compares me to Mr. Rogers when I do that. I was like, hey, it's okay. I'm okay with that. He was a great guy.
Yeah. Well, talking of guests, we've got some more guests that have been joining us, and I must give them a little shout out if that's okay, Tish. So we've got the old devil bull pythons. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. So it's lovely to have him here, and also we've got Jaffe from Jaffe Exotics here. Now, Jaffe is friends with Austin and the crew at Mutation Creation. He's got back into bull pythons recently. He's got some amazing pairings, but also he's got his brand new YouTube channel that he's launching, and please go and give him some
Huh.
love. And he'll be
Of
our
course.
guest. He'll be our guest next week. Actually, I'm really looking forward to having him on the show. And
Oh, I've
we've
never.
got some.
I will definitely go on his page. I've actually. This is
Yeah,
the first time I see him.
yeah. He got
Okay.
Austin. Austin came over to his show and was actually doing an ultrasound, showing him how to ultrasound. And some of his
Nice.
girls, I mean, literally, I mean, I don't know what he's feeding them something. They're massive. I mean, some of the follicles are
It's
like 20,
it's
25
the
mil at the moment.
mutation creation freaking secret. I don't know what they do, but all their girls are massive.
Something's
It's
going on. I
insane.
mean, yeah, and Austin himself, actually, Austin texted me the other day and he said he's very busy with all the podcasting going on with Mutation Creation, but he's agreed to come on the show,
Oh,
which
nice.
I'm really looking forward to that because I do like Austin a lot, and he's part of the reason I'm into this because he was always racing with Billy. And I quite like the banter between them when they're cutting eggs. It kind of adds to the spice
So
of the
do I.
evening. So I'm hoping he's got
So
to
do
recheck
I.
his.
It's
I think
very
he's got.
entertaining.
Yeah, I think Austin said he's going to check his diary and maybe sometime in March, hopefully, we can get him on the show. I've also got another
Cool.
guy coming on the show called Bob, who's from the Green Room Pythons. I don't know if you know him, but this guy is an entertainer. I mean, he plays the banjo. He's a music.
Huh.
I think he's a music teacher. I think he teaches guitar, and he's got a beautiful array of a collection of snakes. But he's into his like if you look at his facility, he does live shows as well. But he has like these ladders and things, and he's getting all these animals out that are climbing and having enrichment time. And I'm experimenting with enrichment myself because I actually think personally that it's quite challenging when your collection gets bigger to keep the enrichment going. When you've got a small collection, you're naturally handling them, naturally playing with them.
Mhm.
You're showing them to the kids. You're letting guests and friends come into the house, play with them. When you get a big collection, you just don't have the time to do that. And I worry that maybe how
Mm-mm.
can we give them something to give them that extra stimulation? You know.
So,
So,
do you watch Brian Barczyk's channel?
yes,
Do you know what the where the sloth usually goes?
yes,
That big tree thing? That's
yeah,
something I've considered getting. Something like that. So exactly like you said, to enrich. When I saw that, I was like, well, that's a fantastic idea on a smaller level. But
hmm
that's a fantastic idea. While I'm cleaning it, his or her cage, I could put them on the branches because everybody says that they'd like to climb. So I'm like, okay. So maybe if I do something like that while I'm cleaning out their cage, that's a little bit of enrichment. It's not much, but it's something,
yeah.
just so that they can move around a bit
So I think
more
that's
than
a
they usually
yeah.
do.
I think that's a great idea, Tish, because I'm playing with the idea. I haven't got around to doing it. I've just had a horrendously busy. I've got another business running parallel to this. So I'm a chartered accountant over here. It's like a CPA. So I kind of advise people on their taxes in the UK. So
Oh, nice.
we file our tax returns the end of December, end of January. You guys are filing your tax returns in a couple of months. So I know you guys are doing yours 2 or 3 months later. But we have so much pressure in December and January that's one of the reasons why I moved away from my daily shows because I just couldn't have the time to do them. And now we're getting back into one
Hmm.
or two a week, but I will gently get back into it. But it was just so full on. But I mean, I've been telling my viewers that I'm doing an experiment where I'm going to build a play area for my snakes, a safe play area, quite a big one, which will have tree branches, lateral tree branches, so they can climb safely. Because I wouldn't want any of my
Hmm.
snakes falling from height.
Falling. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to try and do it so they can climb laterally and still get the enrichment. I've got to make sure that while I'm cleaning, I will give each snake maybe 10 or 15 minutes of exercise and just rotate that every day. So 160 snakes, if you work out 7 days in the week, there's about 20 snakes a day if every snake had exercise. Um, that's a lot of snakes, so I might have to do it every couple of
It
weeks.
is.
Each snake will get a couple of
Yeah.
weeks of fun and entertainment, but it'll be supervised. So while I'm cleaning, I'm keeping an eye on them as well. And it will be in a protected space so they can't drop off and fall on the floor or hurt themselves. So I've got to build it, but I'm going to do an experiment to see whether that enrichment gives them extra muscle strength, whether they still feed well, whether they still breed well. And I'm going to do an experiment. Maybe some of them I won't play with and some I will play with, and then we'll see over a year of breeding and check their health and see the impact it has on their health.
That is a fantastic idea. Have like a control test and your actual experience. That's fantastic. You're gonna have to keep me posted on that. See how if that maybe just like I guess exercise in humans, improves the overall quality of health. Does it do it for reptiles too?
Yeah.
Particularly ball pythons.
Yeah. So I want to welcome Leviathan Snakes. Now, I don't know if you've heard of Leviathan Snakes, Tish, or whether you've followed them. Now,
yes, I've definitely seen the logo, and I have them on Instagram, and I've seen them. I've definitely seen the name many times.
Well, they had some beautiful news today, last week, and I'm just gonna, if it's okay with Stephen and Courtney, I'm just gonna share one of their pictures they posted on their news, and I think we want to send them a lot of love. It's such a cute picture, but I'm gonna let me just see if I can. Hang on a second. Let me just see if I can do this. Just bear with me, Tish. Now, I'm going to try and do something. I'm going to share. I've got two computers in front of me. One of them, I've got Instagram, Facebook, I've got TikTok, I've got a whole bunch of stuff that we can have fun with tonight. Because I know Tish's, your multimedia is like full on. It really is full on. When I did the research for the show, you've got so much going on. And I thought we could share some of your TikTok movies, or maybe we could share some stuff tonight, because I think it's just so beautiful. I mean, but before we do that, I'm gonna just just bear with me a second. I've got to just work out. So there's my screen I'm sharing on the other computer, which we'll come back to your YouTube channel in a second. But I just want to give some love to Stephen and Courtney and congratulate them. And this is the picture I wanted to share, which is there's a beautiful baby.
Congratulations!
A beautiful baby girl, and it just takes back so many memories when I was a father for the first time, and I know how they're feeling. They're excited but absolutely shattered, probably. And Tish,
it's so scary.
You've been a mother, haven't you? You're a mother, aren't you? You've had a baby.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I have a son. Yep.
Yeah. Now I've got your TikTok here. I'll see if I can find it. Let me just see.
Oh God.
Just for some fun here. So here we go. So now this is your son. I think is it Grayson?
Grayson, yeah.
Grayson. So let me just is it okay just to share a little clip of?
No, go ahead.
Is that okay?
It's public anyway.
Okay, all right, okay. So I'm gonna just see if I can share a clip here.
Can't hear it, but yep.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we can hear it.
Okay, let me see if I can.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Okay, let me see if I can get the sound on. Okay. Can you hear that now?
There it is. Yep.
Oh, it's cute. What are you looking at?
I just thought that was so beautiful. Honestly, it was so beautiful to see that and to get him so excited. And it sounds like he really likes his reptiles, that's for sure.
He does. I gave him his old snake. Oh, we have an echo.
Sorry, it's my end. Sorry, I've just if I'm using these headphones and I show a video, you can't hear the sound. So I've got to take the headphones off, and then I can show the sound, but there's a little bit of an echo. But I'm going to have to try and work on how I can get sound off my other computer without the echo. But
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He loves snakes. The big ones he's a little bit iffy with. I can get him to hold the subadults. But the babies, he loves to hold the babies. He loves to hold the rats. I ended up getting him his own snake. I got him a Pueblan milk snake, and he loves her. Just watches her grow, watches her eat. He'll handle as much as you can, but colubrids, they poop on you as soon as you pick them up. So we're still
Yeah.
trying to work with her with that. But yeah, he loves it. I'm hoping one day he'll want to do what I'm doing. Hopefully,
I think you. I
pass
think you
the
will.
business on.
My son Jared has a little boy who's 18 months who comes into the snake pit, and he handles snakes at 18 months. He actually kisses them. It's just so beautiful.
Aw.
The next generation is coming through strong, Tish. I can see him being part of your business going forward, no problems.
I hope
And
so.
and the other thing that I liked is this is your TikTok account, by the way, and
Hmm.
so I love this is your bearded gecko, not bearded gecko, bearded dragon, isn't it?
When did I get 200 and something followers? That's what I want to know. I haven't been on there in months.
I'll tell
Wow.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, we had Gen Z Reptiles on last Saturday, and they've got a TikTok account, and they've got an insane number of followers. And
I didn't even. I only have 2 videos up.
I'll tell you,
Wow.
you'll be very surprised. I mean, I'm going to have to get my daughter Emily because I think it is the next generation. They say that TikTok's going to be bigger than YouTube.
Huh. Well, I mean, it is pretty big. I mean,
It's going to get
that's all
big.
I scroll through every day. That's all I
And
scroll through.
I know
Aside from YouTube.
Yeah, do you know Facebook own Instagram and they own quite a few things? Their
I knew that they
stocks,
owned Instagram.
yeah, their stocks have dropped 29% in the last 2 weeks because of people like TikTok who are taking over the market and they're just going crazy for it. And what I'm saying is, I think that's why I'm impressed that you've got a TikTok account. I haven't got one, but I'm really seriously thinking about putting out really short videos and films and just getting the next generation excited about reptiles. Is what it does, because it's the younger generation that tend to watch these things more than the older generation. But I think it's yeah.
I haven't kept up with it. It's because when you're doing YouTube, as you know, you're doing it horizontal, and I always forget that you have to do it vertical for TikToks. So if I don't have it perfect and right every time, I won't do it. So it has to be like perfect for me to post it.
Yeah.
I don't want it to take like a little piece of what I'm doing on YouTube because like it doesn't look right, I guess. The horizontal and vertical, it doesn't look right. So I'm
Yeah,
picky with that.
I think it's on TikTok because people like to see 5, 10, 20-second videos. If you do it on your phone, say you're in your snake pit and something unusual happens and you haven't got your full camera gear with you, but you want to just capture the moment. Like, for example, you might get a 2-headed snake popping out of an egg.
That was amazing. Did it survive? Is it good?
So it was severely kinked, and we decided to donate it to research. So the British Natural History Museum in London, which is one of the oldest and most famous museums in the world, they've taken it as part of their science, and they're going to make an exhibit in the museum. So,
Nice.
Did you know there's a 1 out of 100,000 chance of hitting a 2-headed snake?
I did not. I know it's rare, but I didn't know it was that rare.
Yeah,
Huh.
and you know that
It
was
was awesome. I saw that. I was like, wow.
When I saw it, I couldn't believe it, and I said to Jared, "This is just unbelievable." And we looked at it, and I said to Jared, "Unfortunately, it's kinked because if that wasn't kinked, that would have been a $25,000 snake." And do you know that was the 50th egg that we'd hatched in our ball python career? So to get 1 out of 50 instead of 1 out of 100,000 is incredible odds. And I know you've got a video about
like
how to.
once in a career.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, we've got some strange things happening and strange things cooking in our facility. I'm just wondering what's going to happen next. But something like that for TikTok, where kids are really fascinated by this, you could actually share that on TikTok, and you'll probably get loads of views. I might still do it. I might just do an experiment and put a 2-headed snake on TikTok, and see whether it gets people interested in the channel and interested in ball pythons.
That would go viral very quickly because it's so rare. When I saw that, I was like, that's I've never seen it. I've seen like the 2-headed cord snakes. I've seen like other snakes that are never a ball python. I've never seen it. And for you to do it, for you to hit that, and you said it was your 50th egg. That's crazy. That's
I know.
some serious luck.
I couldn't.
Awesome.
I just couldn't believe it. And Jared and I were just like, oh, our eyes popped out. Now, We've got Jeremy from Board Exotics in the house tonight. Want to welcome Jeremy. So thank you for coming in there. And we've also got a good friend of ours, Phil Snyder, who is also in the house. So welcome, Phil. Phil normally has his meal in about half an hour or so he'll probably leave us shortly. But thanks for dropping in, Phil. Appreciate your love and support. Have you met Phil before, Tish, or not?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
He's got an amazing collection, very experienced breeder. He contributes so positively on our channels, and I'm sure he'll go and check your channel out. But definitely connect with him because he's, you like your loyal followers and your loyal subscribers. Okay. Phil's going to be in that. He's like the Celtic. He's very much into enjoying media and enjoying particularly new people coming in on a journey, and very supportive. So. Going to give him a big shout out. So it's lovely to have so many wonderful people in the show. And of course, this is the guy that you've been on his show, which is Gershon at EP6. Now, I've seen a couple of your lives
awesome
with Gershon.
Guy.
He's such a cool dude. He's so laid back. And him and Adam at Proper
He's
Royals.
so freaking cool, man.
They both cut me in gently on these live shows. I went on their shows first and I thought, you know what, I'm actually quite enjoying this. Let's give it a shot. And do you know, by the way, you're my 6th live show this year. And we've got others lined up for later. And I actually look forward to my Saturday nights now, where I'm, Are you okay there, Tish?
Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. I apologize.
Okay. That's okay.
Yep.
So,
you're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, I'll see if I can come through a little bit clearer. Maybe it's a Wi-Fi signal. How is your Wi-Fi, Tish?
There we are.
Okay. It might be the Wi-Fi signal. Am I coming through okay now?
Now you are,
Hello?
yes.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. Right, so we've also got Main Squeeze Reptiles in the house. Welcome to Main Squeeze Reptiles. I'm just going to catch up on a few comments. And we are taking questions, guys. If there's any questions out there that we can help with, please feel free to give us some questions. Let's have a look and see. There's a good chat going on the side here. And my son Jared is in the house. So here's Jared. Welcome to Jared. Love the bearded dragon, he's saying there, Tish. I think Jared wants us to get a bearded dragon.
Yeah, she's a good girl. She's a good girl.
She's lovely.
She's constantly laying eggs. That's the only sucky part. Like, I don't want to breed her, but she's constantly laying eggs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, my daughter's
That's the only thing I don't like about the. They're awesome. Just she's laying too many eggs, and I don't want to breed both the bearded dragons. A little too much work for me.
Okay, so here's the first question for tonight, Tish. The question is coming from Jaffe, our guest for next week. He says, "What genes are you excited for, Tish? What's lighting your candle at the moment?"
Right now, Desert Ghost is. I'm going to be hatching the first Desert Ghost and Het Desert Ghost. So I'll have my first visuals later on. I think she's like at 30 millimeters, or her follicles are at 30 millimeters. So she's getting there. Okay. But then I have my chocolate. She was bred to a pastel calico DG, so I'm going to be getting some cool hets this year. So that's one of my biggest things I'm excited for, my biggest clutches. Clown, of course. I don't have enough clown. I just don't. I have 2 holdback females, and that's it. Every female that I have that has clown in it is a het. So I have very little clown, and I want more.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I mean, we couldn't get hold of a female clown when we first started. I had to go abroad, and I managed to find a het, and she gave us 5 eggs last year, and we got 3 clowns out of her.
Wow, great odds.
So I was really pleased with that. And so, out of interest, on your Desert Ghost, is it a Desert Ghost to Desert Ghost? So you're going to hit visuals, or is it a Desert Ghost to a Het Desert Ghost?
My female is a Het Desert Ghost, and the male is the visual. So yeah, no, at least half the clutch should be visual.
Desert Ghost, I think, and we've got Desert Ghost in our collection, and we've got some Het Desert Ghosts. I think we had 9 eggs from our Desert Ghost boy, and we put him to. He's an Enchi Desert Ghost boy, and we put him to our. Who did we put him to? I'm trying to remember who we put him to now. We put him to our Fire Girl, who's a really big established girl. And we've got Fire Enchi 100% Desert Ghosts that are coming on nicely this year. So give it a couple of years, we should hopefully have 5 or 6 females ready to go to plug into a visual Desert Ghost. So it's a slow, steady process,
Let's
but
hope.
it's starting. It's starting. It's lovely.
Let's hope. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for this boy to finally grow for me. He's killing me. I love him so much because this one's my pastel vanilla desert ghost,
Beautiful.
and I'm just waiting. He's running at around 300 grams right now, so soon, not this year, but next year he'll be
He's a,
in the breeding team.
he's lovely. He's a stunning example. Pastel and Desert Ghost together looks absolutely fantastic. He's a lovely example. Now, this is your powerhouse
Oh
boy
yeah,
that you did the unboxing with. I watched that video and I thought, good move, Tish. Good move.
yeah, that's one of them. That one came in the quad, so it was that one, the adult female het DG,
Hmm.
the chocolate that's also gravid when it was in that group, and the gravel girl that I have, adult female. He was the only male in the group, so
So,
I got
yeah.
him as a teeny little thing.
Well, he's doing really well. 300 grams is not far off. You give it another 6 months, he might be raring to go,
Yep,
It's really
hopefully.
exciting. I'm really
Fingers
excited.
crossed.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing that one. Now, what I've done tonight, just to help me with my own kind of keep me on track, really, because I'm likely to go off track if I don't go off track. So I've done a little slideshow, which basically reminds me the questions to ask and also just to give some background on your journey. So if it's okay with you, Tish, I'm going to move us into two small people on the side, and I'm going to bring on the slideshow now. And let's just talk about your logo, because I think your logo is fantastic. We did a I was going to say snicker swap, a sticker swap. Sorry. I'll put my teeth back in. Sticker swap about 6 months ago, and I was super impressed with the logo. So tell us a bit about the logo and the name, and how you came up with the ideas and part of your promoting your business. Can you just give us some background on the logo? And
You're gonna laugh at me. Okay. So the logo idea, I was looking at pretty much everything, and I was googling a bunch of stuff. I was like, okay, what's taken? And originally, not a lot of people know this, but originally, I wanted to make my logo darker, not like darker as in, because I'm a huge horror fan. So
Mhm.
the original idea was like the spawn, like a little spawn of Satan type thing, because biblical sense, Adam and Eve, the serpents from back then.
Mhm.
Um, I wanted it to be a little bit darker, but when I thought about it, I was like, no, you know what? I don't want kids to be around that. So it went from biblical to more new life. So when I thought about it, I was thinking about, okay, I still want the spawn in there, but I don't know what I'm going to do with the spawn. So I wanted to still incorporate like the spawn of Satan type thing. I hate to say it like that, but it is. That was where that idea came from. Just
Mhm.
that name, spawn of Satan. But I wanted to put it in Python. So the spawn babies, I'm going to be producing Python babies. So Python spawns, the spawn of my Pythons. That's where
Yeah.
that came from.
Okay.
And then the actual baby inside the egg had I knew I wanted it to look like it was being candled, but that took at least 4 months for my investor to do. So my investor happens to be another person in the military with me. He was my sergeant. He's no longer my sergeant. He moved to another unit. But once he found out, when I had my first clutch and everything, he was like, "It's go time." So we started to look at the logos. He started to give me things here and there, and I was like, he did everything right except like the shape of the snake. I was very particular that I wanted it to look like a ball python and not just a typical snake. So a
Mhm.
lot of the playing around with that took a while. And then the candling aspect of it, I knew it had to be with a darker background, and I wanted it to be very obvious that the snake is being candled. So how he did it, I have no idea, because I'm picky when it comes to things like. But he sent this over, and we tweaked it a little bit with colors, and we wanted to have some veins in there, because originally there was no veins. And the first thing you see when you have a egg is veins. So I was
Yeah.
like, now we have to incorporate veins. And so he incorporated the veins, and he made it a little bit more cartoony. and that's how we got the logo.
Yeah. Well, I
That's
think
the background to
looks, yeah. And you know what? If it took 4 months to get there, all well and good, because you can see the quality just shines through, and we can all relate to it because when we're candling our eggs and we're seeing the veins and we're seeing the embryo growing, I think it's beautiful, and it does look like a ball python. So well done. I think
Yeah,
it's an,
it took a
honestly,
while, but yes.
it's seriously professional, and also your intro was so professional. Turning fear into desire. Tell me a bit about the strapline and how you came up with that, and the background to that one.
So I wanted to push that more. I have it on my business cards, and I have it on obviously my logo. When you get like my thank you cards, it'll be on there too. So
Mhm.
turning fear into desire. Nobody's asking this, and I actually thank you for saying for bringing it up. So a lot of people that I've talked to don't like snakes. They don't. Great example. One of my great friends, probably one of my best friends, Christine, she's in the military, hates snakes, hates them with a passion. She grew up in Guyana, and every snake there that she remembers when she was there is venomous. So she had this natural fear of snakes. So when I started to do this, she stopped coming to my house. She completely stopped coming to my house. I was like, look, just come over here and let me show you a baby. It doesn't have to be anything serious. I'll give you my tamest baby. And she finally agreed to do it. And little by little, she was like, okay, they're not so bad. Don't get me near the big ones. I'm like, okay, we'll work up to that. And I pretty much, what I saw in her and what I see in other people that are also afraid of snakes, I want to turn that fear, the fear that you just don't understand the animal, that typical fear of serpents, back to the biblical time. I want to turn that fear into the desire of wanting to know more about them.
Mhm.
Just to the knowledge of knowing more. Why are you so intrigued by this animal? Of all animals, why are you so intrigued by this one? So I want that desire to learn more about it. And now, that same girl that grew up in Guyana, terrified of venomous snakes, came over here, stopped coming to my house. She just entered to win the all white snake on my 1K giveaway video.
She just
So
won it.
that's what I want. No, she
Okay.
didn't win it, but she
But
just entered. So I was like,
Oh.
seriously? She's like, you're right. If I win, the first step of me getting over my fear even more than you already have is giving it to my son for their birthday, and it'll be
Yeah.
in the house, and I'll just be one step closer to not being afraid of this animal. So that's what
Yeah.
that is a huge turning point. Huge. And that's what I
Yeah.
want to give to a lot of other people.
Yeah. So when I
That's how
first read your
that's where that came
strapline,
from.
yeah, thank you for sharing that, because when I first read it, I was trying to work it out, and then it suddenly dawned on me that you just described my journey, because I was really fearful of ball pythons. And then when I overcame my fears, the desire to get to know them and to breed them and to really know what they're all about just increased and increased, and still does. And my desire to learn more about them is still there, because, as I said earlier, I'm going to do lots of experiments to find out about their natures, about their personalities, about the husbandry, which so much to learn. When we're both on a very exciting journey, and there's so much to gain and learn from experience and others. I think it's super exciting, and I think it's a really good strapline. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh, no
I'm going
problem.
to,
Thank you for asking.
yeah, I'm going to, hang on a minute. Sorry, I'm picking the wrong stuff here. The next slide basically is your YouTube channel. And as I say, you've just hit the 1,000 subs, and you're going through that now. Which, to do that in a year, honestly, that takes a lot of doing. So well done. My hat goes off to you for achieving that so quickly. But you've also got a lovely way of showing your YouTube channel. There's the different media. We've already had a look at your TikTok. You've got a Facebook page, which I've got on the screen here. Instagram. You've also on MORPH Market. And what I like to see here is that you're actually promoting US ARC. Now, we know there's been some topical news this week with the various amendment bills that are trying to sneak through the back door, trying to disrupt our hobby, interest, and industry. And I know you've put on all of your social media, and we can jump to this. In fact, should we jump to that now, or do you want to leave it to the end? Because
Absolutely.
Let's
No,
do
no.
it.
I mean, if we talk about it now, it's gonna be a little bit.
Yeah, There we go.
So I mean, we might as well.
Let's talk about it now because it's very topical. Obviously, in the UK, the old saying is when America gets a cold, no, when America sneezes, we get the cold. So whatever you guys do your end, our legislators often do follow your legislation in many aspects of life. So we've got as equal an interest in what's going on in the US as we have over here in Europe. And just tell us a little bit about the issues, Tish, and what we can do to help the community get together and actually put in our representation. And I know everyone's kind of encouraging everyone to speak to their senators. So tell us what's going on and what we can do to get behind and support that.
Okay. So when I got a notification because I am a member for USARC, and I got a notification and it said that they're trying to slip in the Lacey Act into a current act that's going on right now. It's been crazy. So what they're trying to do is prevent animals. There's whitelist and blacklist. So on the whitelist animals, you're allowed to keep those animals. And if they're blacklisted, you're not going to be, if this bill passes, you're not going to be able to cross them over state lines. And it's not just reptiles. It's pretty much every animal aside from dogs and cats and certain livestock, I believe. But think about it. That's pet stores. That's zoos. That's any way to get food for our reptiles. If you prevent anybody from being able to cross state lines with their animals, like how are we gonna continue doing what we're doing as a hobby or as a profession? How are we gonna be able to do it? So it's something as simple as Brian Barczyk said it perfectly. If an animal, let's say I have an exotic, I don't have that many exotic vets here. So let's say one of my ball pythons, no, let's get even more exotic. Let's say that's not even that much more exotic. So one of my ball pythons here got something very serious. They have a very serious illness. Nobody here on Long Island and in New York has the ability to help me. And the closest person that can help me, New Jersey. If this bill passes, I cannot go to Jersey with my snake to get help from a vet at all. Or because I'm in the military, I'm not active duty, but I am considering moving to another state, which is Florida, when towards the end of my contract, so I can re-up in another state. Mm-hmm. If this bill passes, I cannot take any of this with me. None of it. I won't be able to take it with me. That not only is that financially burdening, it's gonna kill my small business. But these animals, this is my therapy. When my getaway are my animals. If I can't have my animals, this goes beyond just my small business. This is literally what I do to get my mind off of my everyday situations. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not able to do that, I don't know what I would do. I just don't. This has consumed my entire life. So a lot of big people have been talking about this. And what we can do is help USARC prevent this from passing. So on my Instagram, I have a link tree. On there is the USARC. You can actually go on there on my link tree and click on the actual bill. You can go on to USARC and read the bill for yourself. You can go to your senators. Anybody in the U.S., there's a link to your senators. It's an Excel spreadsheet. There's a link to your senators so that you can locally find them and send pretty much. Let's see if it's on there. Okay, so let's see if can you click on my link tree?
Okay, so
on my Instagram.
Okay.
Are you able to do that?
Let me see if I can get back to your Instagram. Just bear with me.
Of course.
Okay, so
So for anybody that doesn't understand how to get there, if they're having trouble, like I was, um,
there's
military
a
morphs helped me
yeah.
do this.
So you've got US Arc official here. You've got
Is that my Instagram?
yes. So if I
Go
click
to
on
like
that,
go to the like where you see my followers and my picture off of that.
okay. Let me see if I can find that now.
Yeah, let's go. Let's scroll all the way up.
All the way up. Okay. Let's go to the top.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so you see right there where it says Linktree? Perfect. You
Okay.
can click on that and
Yeah.
all the links right there. So if you're able to zoom in, so that first one is the actual link to US ARC. There you go. Your
Mm-hmm.
US Senator contact list, your sample letter. So if you don't know what to say, or
Mm-hmm.
you're not good with your words like me, there's already a pre-done letter, and then you can just add to that letter, and you can that sample letter. All you have to do is add what you need to add to it, and express your opinions respectfully. We want to be
Mm-hmm.
respectful with all of this. And then you can send that letter to your senator, to your contact senators list, and every state is going to have a different senator. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's two petitions going on right now, so you can support the petitions as well. So you can go on there, sign the petition, and I believe the goal is 5,000 for USR on each one. And they also send, I believe they send that petition on. We don't need to see below the petitions. That's
Yeah.
just
Okay.
all of my stuff. But
So
yes,
that so
um,
that's a really helpful link. So for anyone that wants
yes,
to have a ready-made letter to go, they're just trying to make it a
hmm
little bit easier for us to actually voice our opinions, because every opinion accounts. Because uh, the more people that can actually represent the hobby, the more chance we have of actually stopping this behind the scenes. I mean, I've been told the way they're putting this legislation through, it's not being properly aired, discussed. It's been attached
nope,
to a much bigger bill, which is probably going to go through.
hmm
So they're trying to pass this bill behind the back door here. They call it a paperclip attachment to the main
yes,
bill, and I think it's a 5,000 page document. So this particular part of the document might only be 50 pages, but it's lost in 5,000 other
hmm
papers. So USARC have
so it's
got
easy to miss.
yeah, so USARC are reading everything in detail and just notifying the community what's going on here. So I think it's really important that we take a look at this very carefully and make some representations. From the UK perspective, we don't have a UK ARC, but we can. I know a lot of people in the UK do support US ARC because it's more of a world. Even though it's US based, it is a worldwide business and a worldwide hobby. And I
Yes,
think,
and you can absolutely go on there. Even if you can become a member, you can donate whatever it is you can.
hmm
You can spread the freest thing you can do is go on your page and spread the word. Even that is greatly
yeah.
appreciated.
So I was thinking
So
with the live
it's
chat, it's really good that we've got this live chat, because any topical current issues we can discuss it and let the community know. And thank you, Tish, for being on this, because now you've made it really easy for us to write our letters. So can
of
someone from
course.
outside of the Senate, can we still write a letter from the UK, or is it only going to apply to American citizens, or can we still voice our opinion
I, I, I
from
I think
outside?
I think you can still voice your opinions. Um, Now, can you do it to a specific state? Nothing's stopping you, but I mean, I would definitely specify that
Yeah,
you're not in that particular state. I mean, there's still a way to contact them without um
yeah,
without the well, they're senators, so you would have to pick a state if you wanted to do something like that. But I believe in general
yeah,
you can go to them. I don't. There's nothing. Nobody's stopping you from doing that to support.
yeah,
Absolutely not. And of course, you can pick a state and contact the senators or contact all the senators.
yeah. Well, thank you, Tish, for that. And I think what we'll do now is we'll just move on to the next topic. I'm just going to try to. Phil has to leave for his tea, so thank you, Phil, for joining us. And he's got to run. He says it's a lovely show. He's really enjoying the show. He says, got to run, but a great show, Paul. Lovely, lovely guest. So that's lovely. And Tish has also joined the show. Not Tish, Kirsty, sorry. Kirsty is there, so welcome to Kirsty. And we've also got Gray's Reptiles. I don't know if you know Gray's Reptiles there, Tish. But
Mm-mm.
that's another lovely channel. They've got some amazing snakes. Well worth checking them out. And I think he's got
Okay.
a military background. I think you might have a connection in another way there. I think he's coming from a military background himself. I may be wrong. And what have we got here? I've not seen this one. We've got
Vinny.
Vinny.
That's the guy that does all the thumbnails.
Okay.
That's my best friend. He does all my cinematography and everything.
Oh, welcome to the show, Vinny. It's lovely to have you here. And also, he's the guy behind the camera, isn't he? I'm guessing because I know you guys.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he does it. He does a great job on your YouTube channel as well because.
Yes, he does.
You know, he gets in there, and when you're showing off snakes, he's not frightened to get in there.
No. I think he forgets half the time that he can actually get bit.
Yeah.
He just completely forgets.
Yeah, Vinny also thinks they're being very sneaky trying to get this little bill in the back door there. So, and we've got Ron from BBM Reptiles. Welcome, Ron, to the show.
What's up?
Oh, Ron is an awesome guy. He's one of the 4 horsemen, and I got to know Ron a couple of years ago. He's just awesome. And I saw you met him at a show as well, and I think you guys are good friends, aren't you?
We talk occasionally, absolutely. We met in Arlington, and that's all we needed. We just needed to meet one time, and now it's just friends.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Ron's got a heart of gold.
He helped me several times already.
He's a lovely guy. I'm really looking forward to meeting Ron. When Jared and I come over to do the shows, we try and dovetail it with when Ron's going to one of these shows because I really want to meet him. I mean, I watch his channel.
You know what that means? That means we're all going to the UK.
Are you guys coming over to the UK? Well, do you know what?
We're gonna have to make a trip.
Yeah. Well, we've got some shows in Europe as well. Jared and I, because of COVID, we've only been doing this 2 years. We've not had a chance to go to any shows yet. I'm watching your videos and seeing you guys having a great time, and I'm thinking, I can't wait to go to the shows. It must be a real buzz meeting people as well as all the wonderful snakes.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is awesome. I'm a little jealous actually. The Arlington show is happening again, and I'm missing it.
Yeah,
I'm going in September though.
Yeah. Well, I'll take the camera with you because when you guys go with the cameras, I get a chance to kind of tag along remotely, if you know what I'm saying. I kind of like to see what you go. And you might end up doing some really good interviews again. I loved your interviews, by the way. They were just superb.
Yeah.
So
hopefully there'll be, more people this time.
Let's see what
more interviews.
Yeah, let's see what Ron's up to because he's saying his best option on this US ARC support because obviously Ron is actually not. He's from. I'm trying to remember where he's from now. Is it
Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico. Now, the best option he's saying would be to become a member, and then that would then cause the USARC that will allow them to contest this with the funding that we're giving them. But by being a member, you pay. How much do you guys pay per month to support USARC? Is it like a $10?
It's a yearly membership. So the bronze membership is $40, and then I believe it goes to 1,000. And then there's another one. I think there's a 500 one, something like that.
So if you were to start off as a bronze member at $40 for the year, that money, 100% of that money goes as a fighting fund, a legal fighting fund to represent us?
Yes.
So, okay.
Everything donated to USARC stays with USARC and it helps fight the fight. Yeah.
Okay, so what we're saying, or what Ron's saying there is that the way to support worldwide, so if we don't belong in the US and we haven't got our own senator, we can still support in the UK, Europe, and worldwide by joining USARC, become a member, send $40, whatever you can, towards them, and they'll use that money to help build up a fighting fund to stop these legislators from taking away our rights, is what we're saying.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, he said it better than me. I'm terrible with my words.
Tish, I'm just saying that Vinny's coming in here. He's talking about thumbnails again. I've got to just share some of the comments because he says when you're talking about
his thumbnails.
Yeah, I might get him to do some of mine. I'll probably get more views.
Hey, contact him. Do it. Contact him. He would love to. Would love to. Believe me.
I mean, Vinny must have his own collection, I'm guessing. Does he keep snakes?
No. No, he does not.
He doesn't? Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
No. He loves it through me. He says he wants to see it through me. Like, he doesn't want to own. He likes dogs. But not that he doesn't like snakes, he just to each their own.
Yeah.
He says that's just he'll live through me.
Yeah. Well, Kirsty's saying she keeps missing the Doncaster Reptile show, but she wants to go there. And I'm the same as you. I want to go to there. Simon Millership, who's a long-term follower and friend of ours, going back from the day one when we launched our channel about 18 months ago. Welcome to the channel, Simon. Great to have you here. And he's just having a latte coming. Sorry, we'll catch up in the morning. Hope everyone's okay. Yeah, we're all doing good here. Thank you, Simon, for just dropping in. Appreciate your love and support. It's all looking good here, so there's plenty of chat going on the sideline. Let's just move across now to the next slide. And again, I've just got to go back to the widescreen here, and I've got so many different slides here. I've got to get this right. Let's go to here. Let's go on to the next slide. So we've got we're going to do it in reverse. Sorry, we've gone through the very final topic that I had. We'd taken care of, which I think is really important to reprioritize. Now, I just wanted to share where you're from, Tish. You're based in New York.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
guessing you mentioned that you're on Rhode Island, aren't you, or near there?
Nope. I'm on Long Island, so
So,
it's a
Long
little
Island.
tiny island, tiny
Okay.
island out in the oceanish area, connected to New York.
Okay, so have I got it?
Yeah,
Is it?
there
on
it is.
Okay.
That's it.
Do you know what? That's a beautiful place to be in New York because you've got coastal views and
Yeah,
it must,
yeah, it's a nice area.
it's a nice place to be. You know, I've never been to New York, I don't think, and I want to go there because the church I belong to, the very first prophet of our church, had an amazing vision in 1820 in a sacred grove in Manchester, New York, which I'll come back to briefly. But I'm just looking at some of the sites to go see when we come to New York. So obviously this has got to be your number one site, isn't it, in terms of, you know.
I'm a terrible New Yorker. I've never actually been there.
But
I'm
it's a
terrible
symbol
New
of
York. Yeah, freedom, of course. Yep.
freedom,
I've
peace,
never
and
actually
liberty.
been there though.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think I was doing studies on New York. New York's got over 8 million people living in it, and it's got. They were saying that if it was its own country, it would be the 8th richest country in the world. The wealth that's going through New York. I know there's poverty as well, but the average per capita income in New York is very, very high. It's a very wealthy state, but there is poverty as well. So, unfortunately, there's an awful lot of very wealthy people, but there's also an awful lot of poor people as well living in New York. But it's beautiful city. I mean, just look at that for a city.
Well, it's concrete jungle. Definitely
Yeah.
beautiful.
And
At
that's
times.
Central Park in the snow there.
I wish I was more. I could actually like say I'm from there. I'm not from the actual city itself. I'm not from the boroughs. I'm actually barely from New York. I've been here for the past 11 years, but grew up in and out of New York.
Yeah.
My family was in Brooklyn, but I primarily in Long Island.
Yeah, Long Island looks gorgeous, I must admit. And there's the Empire State Building. These are all, I'm waiting, you know, I mean, as a child, I remember watching, I've forgotten the name of it now. You know, the film, the classic films that have been filmed on the Empire State Building. I remember watching, what's that film called? With the big monkey coming down and taking the girl. Hong Kong,
King Kong.
King Kong. I remember
King
watching
Kong,
it as a child. Yeah, this is the temple I want to visit in our church. It's in Palmyra,
wow.
New York. It's quite a new temple, and that's
That's
when I come
beautiful.
when I come to the US. Mandy and I want to visit all the different temples in our church, and this is one of the temples they built in Palmyra. There is one in Manhattan as well, which is in the middle of downtown Manhattan. All you can see is yellow cabs and traffic lights, and you think Palmyra is in a much more green setting, but absolutely gorgeous buildings. And this is,
Wow.
you know, I spoke to you about, this is the prophet Joseph Smith, who as a young boy was trying to work out which church to join. And he didn't know which one to join. He got confused by all the different faiths and religions. And so he decided to pray and went into a sacred grove in 1820. And the heavens parted and God the Father and Jesus Christ appeared to him. And it's in a place called Manchester, New York, where this
Manchester.
happened. And that, from our faith, is a restored faith. It's the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. And so when we come to New York, we'll go and visit the sacred sites of where these things happened as well, besides the temples. I thought I'd just very briefly just share that with you because that's my
Wow.
background.
Do you know Do you know exactly where in Manchester? Is
I think
there
it's
is it in the woods? Is it a specific
yeah.
spot?
Our church have got a visitor centre, and it's called the Sacred Grove, and it's a very special place for us because that's where we believe God restored His church to the earth again. So our church is a restored church, and Joseph was given so many different blessings from that experience. He realized that God and Jesus were two separate people, that they weren't just one person, that they were in the same image as us. A lot of answers to his prayers came in that experience, and it's an amazing journey that I've discovered as a young 14-year-old boy myself. Joseph was only 14 when he was seeking truth, and Fayette, New York was the place where he knelt and received a heavenly vision. And that was the beginning of the restoration of the gospel here in the latter days. And that's why we're called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, is the name of the church.
Oh.
So we'll definitely go
Nice.
visit that. Yeah, yeah. This is I wanted to do a bit of background on your surname because I'm trying to work out the origin of your surname. Have I spelt your surname correctly?
You did that. I have two last names, but yeah, that's one of them.
Okay. So
Wow.
Valdaz, it's actually got two meanings. It can either come from Germany, and it means being bold, shortened form of being bold and brave. I don't know if you can see that. And the other version is actually from the valley, it says. It means from the valley, and it has more of a Spanish origin.
Yes,
So,
I'm Hispanic, so
yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. And it also explains some of the places where your family could come from, because you've got different parts of the world where you have this surname being used. So I don't know exactly what your family history. I haven't done the research, but I just thought it's nice to know a little bit about yourself, where you're based, and a bit about your family origins. And I think it's just I'm into family history, so I will always.
That's awesome.
On all
I've
my
never
guests,
Googled my name.
yeah. So yeah,
Wow.
I did actually check your other surname, but I won't tell you the meaning of that because it was an interesting meaning on that. I'll let you Google that one.
Okay.
It made me chuckle a little bit because it's like
Now I'm curious. Now I'm curious.
I'll let you do that yourself. I won't put it on the live show, but it made me chuckle a little bit. It's like oh no, I won't go there. I'll move on to the next slide. Okay, let's talk about your channel. Let's talk about some of the things. You just hit 1,000 subscribers and you've done a giveaway. And have you run the show prizes yet, or are you still waiting for? Can people still enter the competition, or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can still enter until the 21st, pretty much, until I do the live. So I might be able, yeah, probably a certain time that day. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, they can still enter until the 21st. My live is going to be on the 21st, and yeah, they're still able to.
Now
it's the 1K and 2 snake emojis
you're being very
on my video.
very generous, because there's 3 prizes there, and one of them is a snake.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful snake. It's is it a diamond?
Yeah, so it's a special Russo. Yeah,
Special Russo is called a diamond, isn't it? So
yes.
yeah.
Yep.
And
All
he's
white
a good
snake.
size. He's a good size, and he'll be a good breeder male. Certainly, you have
Yes.
two genes going in, potentially 2 genes going. Well, 1 gene will go in, won't it? You'll either have Mojave or Special going into the next generation. Do they act like supers?
Russo is special. Yep.
Yeah, they act as like supers, don't
They're
they?
all
That means
white. So
yeah.
it'll when I believe when you breed them, I'm gonna definitely find out. You're gonna get one or the other. I think it's an allelic animal. So I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you breed him out, you're gonna get one or the other. You're gonna either get Special or Russo.
And to win the snake, you've got to subscribe to your channel, make a comment, and what was the third? There was 3 things you asked your viewers to do. What was the third thing you wanted them to do?
Follow my Instagram.
Follow Instagram. So please jump on if you haven't already jumped on. Can people who are already subscribed still go into the competition by making a comment?
Absolutely.
Or is it just
Absolutely. If you've already done everything else, just leave your comment. That's it.
Okay. All right, that's lovely. Now, the other thing I wanted to discuss is you breed your own rats, and you've just moved your ASFs. Tell us how that's going, Tish. I know that you've got some new racks, because I saw your video and I thought that looked like a good move to me, because it looked like it would be easier to maintain and to breed these ASFs. But tell us the story on that one, and where you source the materials to either build it or buy it, or just tell us a little bit about
Sure.
that. Hmm.
Okay. So I got a call from, actually, I got a text from Gomez Python, Sal from Gomez Pythons, and he asked me if I needed another rodent rack because I had bought the other ones from him. So I was like, actually, yes. What kind of rodent rack? He was like, an ASF one. I'm like, perfect. I needed more space anyway because I wanted to expand the rats even more, and the ASFs were not breeding very like as well in the rat areas, and they were also going through the top of the 1 inch um, metal on the top. So
Hmm.
I needed to move them out. I was losing the ASFs everywhere every time. So he asked me if I wanted them. I definitely said yes. I cleaned it out, and what I did decide to do was I have 3 breeding colonies, 2 of the original ones. I just created a 3rd colony, and then I have a bunch of the grow outs. Not grow outs because they're actually going to be food. I already separated my grow outs, and then I actually did decide to get 2 mice colonies. So now I have a 2.8 in 2 different bins. So so I guess that's 4.16.
Yeah,
So I have 2
that's
new colonies of mice.
yeah. So I watched Gomez Pythons. I've been following him for quite a while. I quite like his show, and he's based in New York as well, isn't he? He's quite local,
Yes,
not too far from you.
yes,
So
he
that's really
is. Yeah, he's
and
not far at all.
he's quite an experienced breeder, and I think having someone like him around as another potential
Yes.
mentor would be a really good move because he's very experienced. He's got great projects himself, and anyone who hasn't jumped onto his channel, I think you should go and check him out because he's very entertaining. I love
Hmm.
the banter between him and his wife and his kids. You know, he's like
Yeah.
he's quite funny and very generous because he donates a lot of money to USARC as well. So he's
Yes.
very
Hmm.
generous. And I watched his video when he
He's a
bought
he's a
his
very generous guy. Yeah, very generous guy in general. He's just a very down
yeah
to earth guy.
yeah I like that. And I think also I watched he bought some new racks. I liked his original racks that you've bought some of his original rat racks, which were good
I
quality
bought
anyway.
the majority of his rat racks. Yes,
Wow.
he went onto the new I believe it's Freedom Breeder. I believe he got the Freedom Breeder ones.
Yeah. So I
Beautiful
think
racks.
yeah, I want to eventually start with a small colony of ASF. We feed ours frozen. We're not allowed to feed live rats in the UK, and we have to. I mean, we still got people that still breed them, but then either feed them once they've been euthanized, and either frozen. But what I'm saying is that we can breed them here, but we can't feed them live in the UK due to legislation. But I was thinking, I can't get hold of ASFs as regularly as I'd like to, and I'm thinking it might be wise to have a colony, so you know the quality of the food you give them, you know the quality of the rats you're feeding your snakes. Plus, if there's a shortage, you're self-sufficient, and you might even be able to give some out to friends that maybe need some as well. So it can be a real positive, even though I know it
Yep.
is quite hard work keeping them, isn't it? But it's part of the, it's part of, you're a natural animal lover anyway, so you probably quite enjoy them as well as, you know, I'm guessing that you quite enjoy.
They're sweet.
Yeah,
I would show you. They're very very sweet. Let's see if I can show you some of them. Yeah, they're. Hey, here's some of the babies. They're very
yeah.
sweet. I've never been bit by any of my breeders or anything,
Hmm.
and they're very chill. They don't do much. Like they're not trying to come at me. They don't try to bite. That's the boy. The boy is a good boy.
Hmm.
He's my favorite. He's one of my favorites. Um, I just separated all of them really. I cleaned out all the babies that are, and then you have, they're everywhere.
So you've got no
They're
problems.
they're
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. I think they look lovely.
No,
I
no,
do.
no, no problems at all.
Yeah, that's really good. And I'm finding that we just stepped up the size of our ASFs because we've got all these breeder girls that want, and also some of the girls that are almost there need that extra food. And we're finding by giving them slightly higher ASFs or multis, they are starting to pack on more weight, which is great. Um, so I think that's something that Jared and I are going to discuss one day. We'll probably have a small colony ourselves. So um, Yeah, well, hats off to you for doing it, and
Yeah.
you know,
The ASFs, it took a while. It took
yeah.
a while for the ASFs.
Are they harder to keep than
They
the
were
other?
they no, they're not any harder to keep. They're just they take a little bit longer to breed to reach sexual maturity, and then when they do have babies, those babies take forever to grow.
Yeah,
So when you really really need them, they take their time,
yeah.
which is fine.
Okay.
But once they get going, they get going.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Let's look at the next topic I was going to ask you about, which is updates on your first clutch. Now you've already had a clutch given to you in 2022, and we've only just broken through January. So you've got one girl in your collection that wants to kickstart your season straight away. Now tell us about the first clutch and how they're doing, Tish.
yeah, I'll show you some of them.
Hmm.
Well, the GHI Pied, he's eating like a beast already. He's on his fourth meal. He never refuses. So half the clutch right now, I just assist fed 3 of them, and the other 3 naturally went the first time I gave it to him. So let me take out one of the boys.
Okay. Now, am I right in saying that you had six babies and all 6 of them were GHIs?
So he is a little spicy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a spicy little guy, but he is gorgeous. Oh, I always forget there it is. So
He's pretty. He's very
there
pretty.
he is.
I like him a lot. Oh,
He's
look at that! Look at that beautiful dorsal bit. I mean, the GHI is coming through really strong on that dorsal.
Yeah, I know. There
That
was
is
no
wicked.
mistaking what he was.
Let me go large on you. I'm going to go large on you if I may. Just let me see if I can go. Oops,
Of course.
hang on. Let's go large. If I switch you over to here and then I take you
There we
large. Yeah, look at that hooking on the dorsal. That is beautiful. And that
Trying to
lovely
work. There
black
we go.
contrast. Yeah, I like the look of him. I mean, you must have been so delighted to get that one when he came out, because that was your
I
target.
knew
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew I hit it as soon as I opened that egg. I was like, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah.
And he has such a spicy attitude. It's awesome. Like I'm in love. He is going to be a breeder in no time. Give him
Yeah.
a year, maybe sooner. He's just going to have he eats like a monster. He's the spicier they are, the better they are.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is.
Yeah. He looks gorgeous. And what are your plans? What are you gonna do with him going forward when he's ready?
So I definitely want to put him into the mahogany project. So Bomb Projects and Kylan from Bomb Projects, he wants to make the perfect panda, and this is one of the main ingredients. So he's going to be going into mahogany, and he's going to be going into more pied stuff, and hopefully we'll be making Kylan's perfect panda with the help
So
of some of his offspring.
yeah, I've got a source. If anyone out there has one based in UK or Europe, because obviously Jad and I are working on a panda pied project. We've got 5 panda pied. Well, we've got 5 girls that are cine pieds or super cine 100% pieds that are building an army of girls for the panda pied project. But we don't want to put a cinnamon boy to them because we know the kinking issues, and we're looking for a pied that's either mahogany pied. I didn't think about GHI. Are you telling me that GHI pied is going to give you the same black effect as a mahogany pied as well?
We'll see. I mean, I'll show you my super GHI.
Just
I mean,
please.
look how dark.
Yeah, let me see how dark he is, because that might be an option. I've been thinking about GHI pied. We've got all the girls, but I don't have a stud boy, and they're going to go next year for me. I need to get a boy so that we can grow them on.
All right.
To produce
let
the panda
me go
pieds.
grab my super. I'm going to show you what the super looks like.
Yeah, thank you, Tish. This is so helpful. This is another blessing of doing lives. Is you've got projects on the back burner, you're not sure what to do, and suddenly you've got someone like Tish who's like sharing so many similar projects to us that she's producing stuff that I'm thinking, yes, this looks like the kind of thing that we could do with to further our projects. And Celtic Balls thinks he's absolutely gorgeous. So thank you very much, Jeff and Angie. Okay, so there's the Super GHI. Yeah.
That's the Super GHI. Yep. So now what we're trying to do is put mahogany in that. There's going to be a lot of trial and error. So definitely super mahogany. You know how beautiful super mahogany is. Now, if you put GHI in that, will it take out that browning effect of the super mahogany pies, the sumo pies? So that's kind of what we're going to try to figure out.
Okay.
Because the darker this gets, and I can show you another female. She is a black pastel GHI. GHI black pastel, I believe.
Yeah, I'd love
and
to
she's
see
also
this.
very dark.
Yes, please. Yeah. Tish has given me some ideas here because I'm thinking you can get a super mahogany pied and you could put that to a cine pied girl, and then you're going to potentially get something which Justin Gabelka's shown us without the kinking issues, is quite a dark panda pied looking snake without the kinking issues, and I think that's really, really good.
All right.
Yeah.
So black pastel GHI, again, very dark. So if this can happen with a black pastel, what would happen with a Suma, with GHI?
Yeah. So that's quite dark.
And then of course, it gets even darker when you get into now you get into blackhead. Now we haven't even talked about blackhead yet. So blackhead is also extremely dark. What do we do when we put all of it together? Because blackhead, I believe nothing with blackhead is an issue with kinking or anything. Same thing with mahogany, no issues for the most part. And same thing with GHI, no issues.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the blackhead real quick.
Okay.
All right. So here's blackhead. Now blackhead is also pretty dark. Now blackhead's blacks are even darker. It's crazy how blackhead's blacks really are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dark.
Yeah. There's certainly some options, and you start stacking these black genes. I wonder how dark you can get that panda pied. The key, I think, is to try and get the dark gene and to get it as crisp and clean as possible. So I think you've got... That's
the goal. That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I think you've got some really exciting ideas going forward there, Tish. I'm going to be watching that project very carefully because it will help me. So thank you very much for sharing those with us. Let's have a look at the next project. And we've got... just bear with me a second. I'm going to go to that one. So we talked about your first clutch. We were also going to talk about the pros and cons of breeding rodents. I think we've covered a little bit of that. One of your videos that interests me is testing for Nidovirus, which is always that's always a concern for us breeders. Jad and I had a snake last year that had a virus. It wasn't the Nidovirus, it was a different one. It was a bacterial virus that we imported from Europe that was in our quarantine, and it took us months and months and months to nurse it back to health. Unfortunately, it never made it, but we learned so much trying to help it. But I was really keen to see, how did your tests go in the end? Because I know that you did a video and I watched it really carefully, and how did it work out for you in terms of the test results, and also how that helps you as a breeder? Can you just give us a little bit more background on what's going on in terms of how that's something that we can consider? Because in the UK, I don't think we can spend $25 and get one done. We've got to either get a vet coming to visit us, or we take the snake to the vet and then they do all the tests, and it costs £200 or £300 to do everything.
Wow. I mean, if nobody would have told me about this, I would have taken it to the vet. And it's
Yeah.
always good to know that you do have options. Oh, I forgot that you were there. Sorry, buddy. You do have options. You can go straight to a what this is, which is a what you call it. I am drawing a blank right now. A medical place where they do testing, and I have all the information for it. But yes, when I tested my animals, I had an animal that passed away unexpectedly. And I actually didn't share this with anybody yet. I talked to a couple of people, of course, that were close to me, and I was so distraught about it, I didn't even really talk about it on my YouTube channel yet. Getting to it, but this is what brought me to doing all of the Nido tests that I did do.
Yeah.
So obviously, none of them, I would have made a video by now, but none of them were positive for Nido. But the female that I did lose, I did test her, and she was my bamboo. Unfortunately, my bamboo adult female that was possible het male passed away. And it was unexpected, and I felt like I could do better. I thought I could do something to help her, and I probably, afterwards, I spoke to some people that there probably was something more I could have done. But she stopped eating after she had her clutch. She wasn't eating at all. She never went back on food. And the one, or I think it was 2 times that she did take food, she regurgitated it. So later on, I ended up finding out after I had, tested for Nido and did all of the elimination testing that I could do. Unfortunately, I think that there was something bacterial in her stomach, and I could have treated her for something bacterial. And I didn't know that at the time, and she passed away before I knew it.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I didn't get to save her, but I did know that she was negative for Nido, so I knew it wasn't Nido.
Yeah. I think this is interesting because when we took our snake last year to the vet, they did a swab test to see whether it was bacterial or whether it was the virus side. And they said it was bacterial. And they say that you can treat a snake that's got a bacterial RI and they can bounce back and get better. But if they're diagnosed with the virus, it's basically you've got a choice to make. You either have to put it in a separate area and give it as much life as you possibly can, or if it's going to deteriorate very quickly and be in pain, then the vet may advise us to then take care of it. And that's the most difficult. I think that's one of the most difficult things we have to go through in the hobby when we face the death of a loved snake. Particularly, she gave you a lovely clutch because that was one of your prize clutches of 2021, and that was the Ultra Male
I was
Bamboo.
so mad.
Yeah. Did she give? Yeah, but she gave you some babies, didn't she? You got some babies from her.
She did. Yeah. I have one of her babies right here, actually.
Yeah. And I think that's the only solace we can take, I think, is that when we lose a precious snake to something like that, and it's very difficult for us to get over that. But when they give us a beautiful offspring going forwards, then you've got to live through that offspring, I think, and just enjoy the baby that she's given you because she's created life for you. Now, that's a bamboo. Is that 100%? Has it got leopard in there as well?
Looks like she's bamboo leopard, and she's very light for a bamboo leopard, so you never know. She might actually have that ultra male gene in her.
Yeah. So
beautiful.
We've got 2 bamboo ultra male girls that are almost up to size now. We bred that in our first year, and I think it's a lovely combination. Yeah. But going forward, I think she's going to be a beautiful part of your future breeding stock.
Yeah. It just sucks that I lost her mom.
Yeah.
She was definitely a prize for me. She was one of my favorite. Actually, no, she was my favorite snake. Every time somebody wanted to see one of my favorite snakes, that would be her. She was so docile, and she was my ultimate go. That was the one snake I wanted.
Yeah.
And she, of course, my favorite snake is the one that passed away. Unfortunately.
Well, hopefully her daughter will carry some of her traits and her natural peaceful. Some snakes are very docile. We've got a couple of really docile snakes, and you do get very close to them because you can show them to any child, any person that's never handled snakes, and they're guaranteed going to have a lovely experience. And they're very precious to have, those snakes. And it is really hard when you lose one because Jared's very fond of his very docile snake, and one of his first snakes he got was a banana ball python, and he grew it on from quite a small animal. But he's shown all his friends when they came to visit him in his home, and he's so docile, and he's the perfect snake for showing beginners because you know he's going to be totally chilled and totally relaxed, and it is hard when you lose a snake like that.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that she's given you some offspring, and at least you've got something going forward
Yeah.
from her. So
And I'm happy
okay.
too. I'm happy I didn't sell the entire clutch because that would have been devastating.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's just have a look now. We're going to go on to the next slide, which is your grow outs and how the holdbacks are doing from last year. So how are your grow outs doing, Tish? How are your
Well, you just saw one,
yeah.
and we have quite a few. So let's take some of my favorites out. I just took a picture with this girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of the only clowns that I have, and she's gonna nip at me. There we go. So she's a pinstripe clown. There she is, sweetheart. She's literally one of only two female clowns that I own, and I got lucky with her. She's actually really sweet. So
Yeah. So I know that Main Squeeze Reptiles loves your pin clown, and he's so pleased that you're showing her because, yeah, she's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, pinstripe and clown go so beautifully together, don't they? Go well together. She's put on some good size there. Yeah.
Yeah. She's one of the lucky ones because not all of them have been doing this. Some of them they're pretty slow. You'll see her sister. I'll bring out her sister, but her brother's he's sold, but he's gorgeous too. He's the leopard pin. That's actually let me show you the brother.
Okay.
He's not mine, but I'll show you him anyway.
Yeah. So you've sold some of these and just hold them back for the nice weather before you ship them out?
Yes. So that's the leopard pin clown.
Okay, let's go big on the screen and see if we can see how he's looking.
Yeah, he's gorgeous. I don't know what I was thinking when I sold him.
Yeah. Yeah, leopard.
Like the pattern is insane. I don't know how.
He's a good size. I mean, he's almost up for breedable. He's almost breedable, isn't he?
Yeah, let me see. Let's see. He is getting there. He's 267. He's getting there.
He's working. He's working his way there. So he's putting on good weight. So
yeah, he's not terrible with handling either.
Yeah, I love leopard clowns, but to get leopard pin clown, I've never seen one of those before.
Yeah.
Beautiful animal.
Not many. Hasn't been on MORPH market. It's the weirdest thing. Not many people have. It's weird. If this would have been a female, it wouldn't have left.
Yeah.
But
so the girl that you've got in your hand, she's a pin clown, is she? So that's.
Mhm.
She's beautiful as well. Even without the leopard, she looks stunning.
Yeah, she has a very unique pattern.
What's your plans? What are you going to do with her, Tish? What's your thoughts when she's big enough? Who are you going to put to her?
Well, she's definitely going to Desert Ghost. We're going to do some double hats with Desert Ghost because I love Pinstripe and Desert Ghost. So, and I mean, look at how gorgeous she is in clown.
Yeah.
So, imagine Desert Ghost clown. It's just going to be crazy.
So
that's what she's going to go to first.
Yeah, I've seen the Desert Ghost clown pins, and they are absolutely stunning. It's a great project to have, and I wish you,
With mine, the ones that I have, she'll have pastel in the mix, vanilla, and calico. So
awesome.
We'll see how that goes.
That's going to be an absolutely clonking beautiful project to look forward to. So I'm really looking forward to that one, Tish. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh, of course.
I appreciate it.
I love showing these off.
It's just lovely to be. I feel like I'm in your facility and you're just like showing me. Technology is a wonderful thing. We're in the UK. You're in New York. There's thousands of miles between us.
And look at us.
And I'm thinking to myself, we're like two kids in a candy shop here.
I have some stuff I got from Rob that not many people know I have.
That would be nice.
Not the nicest snake in the world.
Yeah, but please do share. We're enjoying it.
So she's in shed, and she is probably one of the nastiest, most. Oh, look at you, ready to strike at me. She's not the nicest snake, but all right, all right, all right. Calm down, calm down. So she may not look, and she's hissing like crazy, but she may, because she's in shed. She may not look
Hmm.
like much now, but this is actually a twister, and the twister gene gets crazy later on when you mix it with other genetics. It may not
Wow.
look like much now, but she will in the future.
I've never heard of the twister gene. That's really interesting gene.
Yeah,
Where? So is this
I
part of?
barely.
Yeah. This is from Rob's.
Rob has
Rob.
all types of weird genetics. Also have Arcane from him, and Arcane is not very well known either.
You know, this is so exciting because when you're developing your projects going forwards, if you've got a breeder down the road from you who's got some really unusual genes and you can do a deal with him, I reckon you're going to be able to bring in some wonderful new morphs into your collection that not many other people are going to have. And if you combine them correctly and get the art right, it could really pop. I mean, I'm
Oh
I'm,
yeah,
I'm super excited.
everything's going to recessive.
Yeah,
Everything's going to recessive. All these
yeah,
females that I'm raising up are going to recessive.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Tish, for sharing those unusual genes with us because we're learning a lot from this tonight. I'm learning a lot, particularly Mitma. I've never seen that before. So let's have a look and see the next. What am I doing here? The next one we've got is. Hang on a minute. What am I doing? You can see my technology's not working brilliantly. There we go. So winter is coming. I watched that video because we had storm damage. When you put that video out, the week before then, we had storm damage. And our whole system went out and we lost heat and our generator wasn't up for the job and we just managed to
Oh
maintain
no.
75 degrees ambient temperature, no heat mats working, just kept the ambient temperature at 75 for 24
Wow.
hours. And then I had to buy a brand new generator which we've now got standing by, so if it does happen again we're ready for it this time. But it pushed back all our breeding plans for 6 weeks, so we're a little bit behind really because I wasn't going to feed my snakes and I wasn't going to breed them to add stress to them because they've just been stressed out by a temperature drop. But now
Right.
we've got our first girl this week has given us an ovulation, so we've got potential eggs coming in 6 weeks' time. We've got some other
Nice.
clown girls that are about 2025 on the because we bought an ultrasound as well, and we're using that to our advantage. And I
Awesome.
think we're going to have an okay season. It's not going to be as good as perhaps it could have been, but I think we're going to salvage it because I think our snakes are incredibly resilient to bounce back. And it was a shock because we've got quite a big collection, and to think that we could have wiped out the whole of our collection because we weren't ready for the winter conditions. I was glad that you put that video out because in New York, you guys get some extremely cold weather.
Yes. Yes, we do.
And you could be fighting a blizzard
Definitely from
going
time
from
to
your
time.
house to your facility. You might be fighting. I saw you put on some snowshoes on one of your videos, thinking that the
Yeah,
snow's
that was
that
my
thick.
first one ever. Yeah, yeah. I keep my generator right by my door. It's like 20 feet from my door, just in case anything happens.
Well
It's right
done.
there, ready to go.
It's really good that you
So,
do think about. So your channel is also about helping others prepare for problems, and I think this is the nice thing about the YouTube journey is that we both can relate to each other's experiences because we're both going through similar challenges. It might not be exactly the same, but when I watch your videos and see what you're going through, for example, you did a video where I've never seen an umbilical cord wrapped around the neck of a snake, and you very carefully and skillfully you decided to cut slightly earlier because of it. But I'm glad you did because that snake probably would have died had you not cut early. And you managed to save that snake, and you very carefully were able to give that life because you took the time to very carefully almost unravel the umbilical cord, and that takes an art form. Now, by me watching you do that, if we get one, I'm not going to be freaked out if it's got this umbilical cord around its neck because I'm going to say, Tish managed to show us how to do this. And this is what I like. I like the fact that your channel is showing everything. You're real. You're you're not kind of hiding behind all the good stuff. If it's bad news or sad news, you share it. And we feel for you when you have a loss or when things don't quite go to plan. And I think it's so nice to have a channel that's so transparent and real. New people coming in get a better flavor of what the challenges are. It's not easy, and there's some heartbreaking stuff that goes on, but equally there's some beautiful joyous experiences as well, as you know, Tish. I mean, I've seen you buzzing on certain days, and I've seen you really sad on others, and it's part of life, isn't it? It's part of being a breeder.
Yep.
It's part, you know.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely tough. It can be tough, but it can be the most rewarding thing in the world.
yeah,
It's all about
yeah,
how you see it, your
yeah.
perception of it.
Your ultrasounding videos I found very helpful as well, because Jad and I have just invested in an ultrasound and we're using it to good effect. We've only had it for 3 months, but now I'm pinpointing when the girls are ready, when I can breed. I'm pinpointing when the girls are going to ovulate. I'm pinpointing when they need a final lock. I think it's a good tool. I think that you can get away without having one, but I think that I'm finding it for myself because I'm only 2 years in the hobby. I've never experienced some of the things that long-term breeders have done with all the other natural techniques of being able to make those judgment calls. So I find the ultrasound very useful tool for me as a beginner because I can pinpoint exactly where the girls are, and I think that's really helpful. And I'm seeing your videos very similar, is that you do. So why do you ultrasound? But I noticed that you also use it as a tool because you do use other natural techniques just to confirm what you're trying to establish. So tell us a bit about
Yeah,
your
yeah, I
ultrasound
palpate.
and the benefit. Yeah, tell us a bit about the benefits of ultrasound and also what other things you do to help you know where your girls are and your boys, what they're doing.
Okay. So one of the first things I do, I palpate. I don't put it on film much. I don't know, because it's not really one of those things that a lot of people want to know too much about, and if they do, they end up just hitting me up. So I'll palpate first. If I don't find anything, because you can feel the marbles. If it's not feelable, I'm not gonna bother with her yet. I'm not even gonna ultrasound her because if I can't feel them, they're not big enough. But that's me personally. That's what I do
Hmm.
personally.
Yeah.
But when it's like I actually feel them, they actually feel like marbles, like they're about that big, and I can physically feel them. That's when I'm starting to ultrasound because right around there, that's starting between like 7 millimeters and like 15 millimeters. That's when you can start actually feeling them for yourself. Um, and
So
that's
can I
when
ask
I'll
you a
start
question?
keeping them.
Yeah.
Of
Can I
course.
ask you a question, Tish, on that one? Because a lot of breeders say they start locking at 10 mil. Then I spoke to Gen Z Reptiles last week, and they were saying they put their males in at 6 or even 7 mil because they think that the locking process stimulates follicle growth. What do you
Hmm.
do? What's your take on it? And would you use your boys that early, or would you wait for them to get over the 10 mil before you start pairing? Or tell us what your thoughts are on that.
So what I usually do, what I found was successful last year, um, around 8, 7, 8, I'll put a boy in just to see if she'll lock with them, like if they'll lock.
Hmm.
After that, I won't do it again for a little while because now she's eating a lot and she's being aggressive with food. So this is what happened last year when I thought it was a good idea to put a male in prior to her being ready to breed.
Hmm.
I put my GHI boy, the father of this little guy right here, in with the het pied, and she was an extremely, extremely aggressive eater. She knew nothing. As soon as you opened that, she knew nothing but food. As soon as you opened it, she's coming out flying. She wants food, and I mean, she got so big because every time I opened the bin, I was just so terrified at that point. Yes, I'm not even gonna lie about that. I was so terrified at that point. I just gave her food every single time that I opened her bin to clean it, even if it's a spot clean. Whether it was small, she got so big because of that. But there's a reason that I continue to do that because I put a male in there too early, my GHI, and she actually bit and coiled him.
Oh
Never heard of
wow!
it. Never heard of it. She bit and coiled that boy, and if I did not get her off of him in time, he would have died.
My goodness me, what an
That,
animal! I mean,
yeah, that's
the
why
close,
I no longer do that when they're ravenously feeding and I don't feel the follicles that big. If I don't feel those marbles and they're ravenously feeding like that, I'm not going to put a male in. Absolutely not. I will not have a repeat of that because
wow!
they
I
get
never.
pretty bad.
So was the male okay in the end? Did you manage to get him back to health, and was he okay?
Yeah, the
He
GHI
did.
boy, yeah, he's absolutely fine. He's the father of this
I've never heard
little
of that
guy
before.
that's escaping. Not many
The,
people did. I actually hit up
that's
Billy from Mutation Creation. He's like, I've never heard of that. I'm
that's
like,
such a.
it happens.
Thanks for sharing that. The closest I've ever had to that, and it's a really sad story. This is we had a hatchling that was a really aggressive eater. And I can't remember if it was me or Jared. I can't remember who did it now. What was it? I'm trying to remember. I think Jared fed it. Jared takes care of a lot of the hatchlings. He's fantastic with his hatchlings. We've got a very high success rate. And so he's feeding this beautiful pied girl. She's what's she? I think she's like a yellow belly pied. She's just one of our beautiful little girls. She was really aggressive with her feeding. And for some reason, she missed the rat. But she coiled herself. She wrapped around herself and had herself in a stranglehold, and she went from white to blue within 30 seconds.
Wow.
And I've never seen anything like it. Jared took it straight under the tap because he tried to take it. She was so wrapped on herself. I've never seen that before. And he put it under the tap, and she changed colour after about another 2 or 3 minutes. She went from being blue because she was going to kill herself. She was going to suffocate herself. And she got her colour back. The next day, however, it's a different story. We lost her.
Oh my goodness.
Even though she got her colour back, she did permanent damage to her internal organs. Must have weakened the heart. The brain must have stopped functioning correctly.
Wow. I'm so sorry to hear that.
That was
terrible.
it was a sad story, but these things are here to teach us many things, and I'm thinking like that's really quite rare for a snake to call on itself. But for you to say to me that you had one that actually called on the boy, I've never heard of that before either. That's so I can see what,
and not many people have. Actually, no, anybody that I contacted has not seen that, and that's why I took pictures, because there's no way. Well, after the aftermath, after I took her off, I took pictures of the boy. I was like, this is insane. I had to, obviously, I cleaned up the snake. I put some antibiotics and everything on it. Fine. He was absolutely fine. Shed out like nothing happened. And he also continued to breathe. Like, absolutely fine. I put him back in after he healed. And, like, he never stopped. Nothing ever happened. He just went right back in with her, too. Her, too.
Wow.
But I waited a while for that one.
Yeah. No, it's, thank you for sharing that. That's a really so coming back to the ultrasound, is what you're saying is that the ultrasound and the pulp and as you're checking the follicle size, you will then be cautious and maybe only start pairing where you feel the time is right. And would that be after 10 mil, or would you always wait for them to get up to 10 mil before you do that now because of that experience?
It all depends on the female. So if the female's not like that ravenously eating like that, where she's not shooting out of the bin, I will test with the waters. I'll put a male in it. She's fine. That's fine. But anything before that, while they're ravenously eating, absolutely not. I won't risk it anymore.
Yeah.
It's not a big. It's not worth losing one of my males to do that. No, it's not.
Yeah.
I can wait.
So I like that approach. In other words, rather than have a general rule, you suss out each individual animal. If you've got an aggressive girl that's hitting everything, and you've got to be extra cautious. And then if you've got a really placid and gentle animal I've got my super cinnamon girl, 100% het pied. She's got such a gentle nature. When she actually partakes of her food, you know how most snakes come out aggressively and they strike really hard, and it's quite exciting for us. This girl, she's got so much manners. I mean, I'm sure she almost blesses her food before she takes it. She kind of, it's so funny to see it. She's doing really well. She's almost she's only 2 years old and she's almost breedable. And I don't know, each of them have slightly different things. And we've got Mayhem Serpents joining us, and also Conwick has joined the show. So thank you for joining the show, guys. Welcome. And Conwick is saying that he's been following you from day one on your YouTube channel. He thinks your channel's great, so go and give her some love. If anyone out there that's not on Tish's channel. And also we've got a question here from, so look, this Celtic Balls are coming up with a question. We had some where Angie and I had to smoke a cigarette afterwards. We asked each other if that was legal, what they just did. Okay, I've missed the earlier conversation on that one, so I'll probably...
Yeah, I definitely didn't.
Have you been following that conversation? But
I can't. Oh, I guess you can see the conversation. I completely missed that.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a conversation.
In terms of follicles, oh, that's gone.
Okay,
I saw that in terms of follicles.
Okay, Jaffe Exotics has got a question for us. So the question for you both, in terms of follicles, how fast do they grow for you, and from what point do you notice they grow a lot faster? Good question. Thank you.
Okay. So in the
Yeah,
beginning, in the beginning, it all depends on the female. So a female can go from 10 millimeters to 15, and I've seen it as early as 2 weeks. But in the beginning, I feel like it's a lot slower process in the beginning. But once they hit that 30 millimeters, it goes fast. And I mean fast. There was one time I believe it was my lesser yellow belly female. I I, I ultrasounded her. She was at 25 millimeters or 26, something like that. And then she was like the next week she was already close to ovulation. She was in the 40s. I was like, what the heck just happened?
it's
Because she
exponential.
stopped
Yeah.
eating. It's insane. She stopped eating, and I was like, okay, this is her last lock, which was her last lock. I was the last one I was gonna do. She had stopped everything. It was the last lock, so that was around 25, 26 millimeters. And then all of a sudden, the next week, she's pre-ovulate, like getting ready to ovulate. I'm like, how? How? I thought there was supposed to be a timeline here, but then I have females that go from 25 millimeters to almost ovulation in like 2 months. So it really depends on the females. But what I noticed in my little bit of time of breeding, the smaller the follicles, up to 0 to 15, 16, 17, it's a lot slower of a process than when you get up to the bigger size
Yeah.
follicles. And now it can go pretty fast.
Yeah, I would share the same view as you on that one, Tish. My experience now, I've got the ultrasound. I'm very accurate with my figures, as though being an accountant. I study the stats and I see what's going on. It's exponential in my view, because I've studied the girls that are like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mil, and they're taking quite a while to get into double digits, to be honest with you. So they start quite small and they take a while to get into double digits. When they start hitting 15 and 20 and 25, the curve is very steep, so they can jump from 15 to 25 quite quickly. They can go from 25 to 35, 40 within 2 or 3 weeks, as you said. And this is where, as breeders coming in and new, you've got to make sure you're getting in a fresh lock if you can. I always believe this, is that once you're at that 25 mil, you want at least one decent, sustained, firing on all cylinders. The boys got to be firing on all cylinders. Get that in there, because if I've got one clown girl that's actually 20 mil, she's not had a lock yet. And if I don't get a boy in there soon, she may not go for us, and it's a clown I've been working with for 3 years, and she frustrates me because she's been picky feeder, then she's starting to feed aggressively now. I put my ultra male Mojave to her, and he wouldn't lock with her last week. And I think it's because he locked with another girl, but I think I'm going to try him again next week, but I'm going to be focused on that pairing, because I think the ultrasound, the benefit for me, it kind of gives me a warning signal and says, you better get a boy in there pretty soon, otherwise you're going to miss your opportunities. So I find it very helpful from that perspective. And Jaffe has, when he had King Austin over at his place last week, I watched his video. I was amazed, because I've been studying and following his journey. I was amazed how many girls he's got that are over 20 mil, and some of them are very close to ovulation. And I remember when he was feeding them, and some of them are quite young. And King Austin was saying on his channel and on Jaffe's channel, he was saying that quite a few breeders actually check the follicle size even at 1100 grams, and if they're getting close to 8, 9 or 10 mil, they could go for them later in this season, and they actually decide to pair. Even though I know there's a general rule, they say don't pair unless they're 1500. There's many breeders that choose otherwise to pair
Still do it.
and
Absolutely.
stimulate
Yeah.
and actually be successful. And you asked the question, how does Billy and the team manage to produce such productive assets, productive clutches with quite young girls? It's because they have a technique of using the ultrasound, checking the follicle sizes, bringing in the male at the right time. That stimulates them to feed. They go from like 12, 13, 1400 grams to 2.2, 2.3, sustain a clutch, and they end up with a perfectly healthy clutch and a perfectly healthy female ready to breed the following season. So I think what we've got to do is, I think we've got to be open-minded to look at each snake individually and make a judgment call, and still be careful and precautious, I think, because we don't want to be breeding girls too young, but we also need to be open-minded to see that it can be done if it's done correctly. And you've got to play everything by ear, I think, is my general feeling, Tish. And I don't know how you feel. How do you feel similar to that, or what's your view on the size of the girls and how?
I'm not a stone cold 1,500 gram person.
No.
I've definitely had paired at a little younger, a little lighter. I've had females give me clutches that started off at 1,300 grams, but by the time they actually laid their clutches, they were like 18, 19, 2,000 grams.
Mm-hmm.
So you may start pairing them at that, but by the time they eat all their food and they're building their follicles, they're huge. They're absolutely huge. And it happens in that short amount of time. So it's not like they're going to give you that clutch at 12, 1,300 grams. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to give you that body weight prior to them actually giving you those eggs. And it's going to be in their own time because those females that were younger were later on in the year. So they needed more time to pack on weight because, like you said, you need the nutrition to be able to do something like this. Now, when I did ultrasound them, they had follicles and they were over 10. So, of course, I'm going to try. And then the opposite. Then I had females that weren't eating, and I paired a male in there just to stimulate them to eat, and it worked. And it worked absolutely. She started, slamming food, and she was breedable.
See, I had the same experience. It's very similar to yours, Tish, where I had a girl that was being a bit picky, and I was thinking, she's three years old. She should really be up to size by now. And she was on the board. I think she was 1,300, and I thought, I'm going to try an experiment. And I had a male that was also off food as well. And I thought, but he was big enough. He was like 800 grams. So I knew that I could pair them both together safely. So I put this boy to this girl. Both of them weren't feeding. Guess what happened after they locked?
They ate.
Both of them ate aggressively. I mean, it switched them on. Now, people say it switches on a girl. It equally switches on a boy too. It can switch on a boy. My boy went through the roof. His feeding instincts went through the roof. First time I've ever experienced that. I thought, my goodness me, I was trying to stimulate the girl to get going, but it actually helped the boy too. Yeah, it's interesting. It's good
it's happened to me too. Yeah.
I think it's good to share these
That
stories.
GHI boy. That GHI boy has been through some stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like he's a real warrior. I mean, he's definitely hardcore, isn't he? He's like he's a lovely animal.
Yeah.
And he's producing some beautiful animals for you. So we've got some interesting comments coming on the chat, and there's a question here that is to do with cells. Just moving on to the cells now. Mihen Serpent is asking this question, Tish. She said, "I had to sell my snakes when I shipped off. How do you do it, Tish?" So he had to sell his snakes when I shipped off. Okay, how do you do it, Tish? So what is your sales technique?
I'm assuming he's in the military?
I think he could be, yeah.
If I had to sell my snakes when I shipped off, how do you do it? Okay. So, if this is a military question, if you don't, a lot of people don't, because I didn't know when I first joined the military. There's three branches of the army, three components of the army. You have the National Guard, you have Reserve, and you have active duty. So what I am is a full-time National Guardsman. So I'm stationed in the same area that I live, and I don't go there for the most part, except for deployments and trainings and things like that. So it's a federal technician, so it's like I still have to wear the same uniform and all that. I go to work every day with my uniform, and I am in the military, but I'm considered a civilian. So even though I have to abide by all the rules, I still have to wear the uniform and all that. I'm technically not active duty. I have to do it every day, but I'm not active duty. So how that works for me, I don't have to travel much, and I don't get stationed to different places. Now my unit's getting deployed this year, and I'm not going on that deployment. And we also do trainings. Like I just came back from a training in Iowa. So when I do go away for the 2 weeks or the month or whenever I'm away, I have somebody that helps me clean the snakes. So they take care of the snakes, they take care of the rodents while I'm away. I'm never really relocated, ever. So I've been in the same place in my unit for 10 years. I've never moved units. So that's how I personally do it.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting that, number one, you've mentioned a really good point here, is that whether we're in the military or not, when we go away for a holiday or break, you need someone reliable to cover for you. That's what I like about Jared and I, is we cover for each other, except when we're both on the same holiday together. Then we've got, obviously, the need to get someone else in. But I think it's very important to have a trusted friend that will take care of your snakes and properly take care of them, because you don't want to come back to a nightmare scenario. So I think that's an important part of prep.
And I still came back to a bit of a nightmare scenario when I went on vacation in December, when I didn't do the video for that week. Unfortunately, an animal did pass away because the person that worked for me, that is working for me, she broke her leg. Oh. So she missed a week, and unfortunately, an animal died. Now, it wasn't an animal in my collection. It was actually a pet rabbit. But it's still very, very devastating. Not the one that I keep in the shed. It was one that I kept outside. And unfortunately, she was forgotten about that week and passed away. But yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because, and I'm sure these things happen, don't they? It's not intentional. These things can happen.
It was not her. Yeah, it was not her fault. She broke her leg. There was nothing. Yeah. Exactly. I can't get mad at that.
No. Okay, so really, I suppose on the question of shipping when you are moving, if you're in the military, how do you go about shipping? Not really sure. Really.
With the shipping, I actually don't even ship my own animals. I go to Rob. So Rob helps me ship my animals for me. I don't even have an account yet. It all goes through Rob. So
that's cool.
Whenever I have an animal, I'll drop it off. Yeah, I'll drop it off at his house, and he'll take care of it for me.
Oh, that's so lovely to have a friend like that. Jared takes care of most of the shipping our end, and we don't ship during the cold period like yourself. And I think we do try to. We've got a very reliable courier that's a snake reptile, and he's got heated vehicles, and they're very reliable. They try to get it within 24 hours to the person, so they're not sitting around it. But even if it is sitting for a day, it's in a heated environment in the vehicle, so they're on heat mats.
Yeah,
they won't get cold, so we're lucky. But I've had one snake from Europe that was stone cold, that to this day it took me 6 months to get her back on food. She's a big clown, cost me quite a lot of money as well, and I was kind of annoyed that it being so. I will never buy snakes in the winter now, or sell snakes. We just wait for the nice warm weather to come, just to be on the safe side is what I recommend. Okay,
absolutely.
So
same.
Let's see if there's any other things going on here. So we've got Bomb Projects. He's come up with an idea here. He says males and females will only breed when they are ready. It doesn't matter if they are 3,000 grams or 800 grams. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Great guy. If you've never talked to him.
I haven't actually. No, I need to connect with Bomb Projects.
You should definitely reach out. He's very close to me.
Now, is he out of interest? Does he have a YouTube channel, or does he just follow you on YouTube?
I've been trying to convince him. It's him and his partner D. I've been trying to convince them, and they haven't plummeted yet. They haven't taken that step.
Okay, but I'm guessing they're on Instagram, so you can follow them on Instagram as well? Yeah, okay, thank you for that.
Yep.
Yeah, I will definitely check that out. And let's just have a little look now. We are almost now back to the slideshow. That's my little cue to move on to the next topic. So just bear with me. There we go. So we spoke about the ultrasounding pairings for 2022, which you've got a video out. So which of the pairings are you most excited about? We did actually look at some of this, didn't we, in terms of which is your most exciting pairings, Tish, that you're looking forward to seeing what's going to happen?
All right, so we have my desert ghosts, like we spoke about. I have a lot of I have about 6 het pied females. So I need to get me a visual pied. They have a regular pied, but I need a you know a visual multi-gene pied. I'm in the works trying to find one for me because right now it's just my het pieds. So that that GHI boy is he's breeding. Um,
Yeah.
I just don't have enough, so I'm not breeding the het pieds, and I'm not breeding all of them. So if they miss this year, they miss because I'm not gonna produce animals that I'm not gonna be able to sell and
Yeah.
or hold back, and
Yeah.
it's not right to do that. So I'd
Yeah.
rather them just take the year off and continue um, getting big and healthy,
Yeah.
and I'll just breed it next year. It's not a big deal.
Do you know, I think
It's not
that's
a
a really
huge
good
race.
policy. That's a really good policy because you'll find next year they'll probably give you twice the size of clutch as well, and it's good for them to have a rest.
Exactly.
And also get the right male, like you say, the het pieds. You want to get a really good quality visual. And like you say, you've got your new boy that will take maybe 6 months to get up to size. He'll be on the breeding rota.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. This one too.
Yeah.
This one's I'm really waiting. She's going into shed, but this is the one that is the yellow belly possible mahogany, which I'm like 90% sure is definitely mahogany.
Well, I've
Mahogany
got
yellow belly.
yeah. See, I've got yellow belly pieds, and I can tell you there's something else going on with that animal. It's not just a yellow belly because I can see the colour. You've got the mahogany in there, I think, because you've got the darker undertones. So I think you'll finally find out, prove out, and it'll be a stunning animal. What a good investment that is, because he's going to look at the face on him as well. He's gorgeous with the stripes, very clear, dark face to him as well. I love the contrast. I think he's going to prove to be very helpful for your projects going forward, Tish. Good move.
Yeah, he's and he was a steal because they couldn't guarantee his genetics. So I bought him as a yellow belly pied, and I
Yeah.
actually really, really do think that he's mahogany now.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be fun.
Oh, good luck with that one.
He's got a couple more 100 grams to go. So
You know
he's
what I
about
would
300 grams right
Do you
now.
know what I would do if I was? I mean, you and I have got similar problems really because we've got all these girls standing by. We haven't got the stud boys yet.
Yep.
And I'm trying to produce
Not
an
enough
orange.
boys.
Yeah, I'm trying to produce an orange dream, yellow belly, pied boy.
Oh, nice.
As a
I
stud.
got all my yellow oh, my orange dream last year were all females, so they're just growing up. I wish I would have had a freaking male last year.
Yeah. If I can get hold of an orange dream, yellow belly, pied boy with a dark gene in there as well, like you've got. But imagine putting orange dream in that contrast to what you've just showed me, that snake.
It would
I mean,
be crazy.
honestly,
It would be
insane.
crazy.
Absolutely insane. And you want something, it's worth spending. I've spent quite a lot of money on some stud boys. £1,500, which is nearly $2,000 on a male. And I've done it for a reason because they've got 5 genes in them I want. I want to produce some Batmans. I want to produce some really high-end stuff. And sometimes you've got to be willing to break the piggy bank on some stud boys just so your projects can be furthered. Because I've always worked out, if you're going to spend money on your stud boys who can then put to 5 girls. So if you've got het pieds, for example, or you've just got straight pieds, you put a stud pied boy to them, he'll pay for himself within the first season easily, probably 10 times over.
First clutch. You'll get what you paid for him plus probably 5 times more.
Yeah, and then he's going to produce
Just for
something
that
you
one
wanna
because of that one stud.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you'll produce something you want to hold back, and then you'll be able to sell the rest. And that leads me on to another question. I've noticed on your morph market, you've only got 2 snakes out there at the moment, but you must be selling using your Instagram and contacts. And how do you go about marketing your snakes? And what tips can you give us to help us with the marketing of snakes, Tish? Because you've bred a lot of snakes and you've sold a lot, but I can't see a lot of movement on morph market, which tells me that people are buying them through your connections.
Okay, so first thing you should do, I'm gonna tell you a secret. Sell your snakes. Don't have so many holdbacks.
Okay. You're like me. You're holding back a lot of snakes.
Yeah. I do bulk. So when animals are worth $100 or less, I'll bulk them. So I work with Jersey Balls out in New Jersey. So I'll bulk them. I'll bulk them to my local pet store. I went to my first show. I think I sold like 2 snakes there. Um, Morph Market, I sold quite a bit on Morph Market. Um, but I don't like to put animals on Morph Market that are worth less than $200 because I mean now I'm going to be completely honest here. Probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. People give me a lot of slack for selling $100 or $200 animal and then having to ship the animal for 60 because they're in California or something. So they don't like to pay that. So what I just started doing is selling them locally instead or bulking them. So either bulk locally, Craigslist, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Oh, and shows. And I'm going to be going to a lot more shows this year. So that's how I do it. I don't advertise that much.
Yeah. That's really good because you've only been doing this a couple of years, and like you say, I'm the same as you. We've held back probably far too much. But you know, when you're starting off and you haven't got that many breeding girls, and you've got to think 3 years down the line, you do hold on to quite a lot of your girls. But I think as we mature as breeders, we'll be selling more, and we'll be moving snakes in and out. And I like the fact that you're taking a varied approach, that you're actually looking at 4 or 5 ways of selling your snakes rather than just relying on one source, because you know we've sold snakes through the YouTube channel. We've made some really good friends, and they've looked us up and said, "Look, we love your projects, we love your YouTube," and we give them 25% discount if they buy through our YouTube channel,
Nice.
because we really appreciate their love and support, and we want to give them that extra touch because they are generally interested in our snakes and generally want to be part of our projects, and I love that because there's a lot of goodwill there, and I think that's a really good way. I've never sold at a show. What was that like, selling at a show? Did you enjoy the experience?
It was my first show, and it was a little overwhelming. It was a great experience. I definitely want to go to more. I only sold 2 snakes at that show. I definitely want to go to more. I think a lot has to do with support system. So I brought people with me. If you don't have that, it can be so overwhelming. So if I didn't have Vinny, if I didn't have Vinny's sister, if I didn't have one of my good friends, Alan, because I had to bring somebody to help me with my son because I couldn't sell snakes and watch my son completely all the time, the whole time.
Yes.
So a support system is definitely otherwise it was absolutely phenomenal. It was cool to like see people recognize me because they watch my YouTube or they follow me on Instagram. That was kind of surreal. It's cool. It was awesome. It was just
Yeah. I mean, I think
yeah.
Jad and I will want to first to go to a few shows to start with before we even consider vending at a show. But I do like the idea of being there with my snakes and showing, not just taking a few that I'm holding back too, you know, like Justin does that and he shows some of his top snakes. Because I think it's more than just selling the snakes, it's the whole experience of enjoying people and bonding and getting your name out there. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be the best way of vending a snake, because I know it's quite a long journey for the snakes and you've got the chance of picking up mites and other issues that I worry about. But I think the experience of selling at a show, getting to know people and showing off some of your stock and your animals and creations and building up a community, I think that side really appeals to me. But I know a lot of vendors make a stack of money. You know, they've got quite high-end snakes, and instead of shipping them, people like to pick them up from the shows, and they've already pre-sold them. I mean, a lot of the snakes we bought from Europe, we had friends going to the shows picking them up from us because that was the easiest way. We shipped 10 snakes from one show through one courier, and it was cost-effective to do that from Europe. So it worked well for us, even if we couldn't go to the show ourselves. So an awful lot of trades do occur in the shows.
Oh, I'm not my biggest. I think one of my biggest flaws when I go to shows in general, I'm not a salesperson. So when somebody comes up to me and they are talking to me about, you know, my animals, my YouTube channel, I forget that I'm supposed to be trying to sell. I'll have a completely different conversation for 30, 40 minutes. And I just realized that there's a bunch of people that were looking at my snakes and I was so intertwined with the conversation that I forget. I'm not a really good salesperson.
But
I'm more
yeah,
into the conversations and what people answering questions than I think that's my problem. I'm more into the conversations than trying to
yeah.
sell my app.
So I wouldn't say that's necessarily a problem. I actually think that because you're what I call a low key salesperson, you're not a heavy sell. You know, you get some very pushy salespeople that really put you off, and the fact that you're willing to share knowledge and help people and take time to enjoy people is a much more natural way of selling, because I find that people buy from me if they bond with me and they trust me, and I don't need to push the sale. The snakes should sell themselves anyway. I think we hold back the sale sometimes ourselves if we're not giving the love and support that people are looking for. So there's a fine balance between, obviously, at a show you've got several people showing an interest, and you've got to kind of balance how much time you spend with each person and make sure that the other person that's looking, who might show an interest, you've got to at some point politely just break away from the conversation and say, can you just give me a couple of seconds, and then find out if that person's interested in buying a snake, and then maybe seeing it, because the other thing is a lot of people at shows will ask about snakes, but they won't necessarily commit money. They may wait to the end of the show and see whether you put a discount on it. You know, they're putting a feeder out, so there's lots of that going on, and you can get messed about. But I would imagine that you've almost got to be, and it's like you say, it's your first show. You'll learn. It's a learning curve to everything, isn't there? But don't ever lose your personality, because your personality will sell. You know, your natural love for people will help you sell your snakes as well. So don't ever lose that, and never always put people first, I think, in everything we do. And the sales often follow naturally, and it's a much nicer way of doing business with people that really love you and you love them. You know, it's my first sell. I'll tell you my first sell experience. Ed, who's a friend of mine, he's a church member that I've known for many years. We both served in the youth and scouting organisation, so we knew each other from that. He lost his brother quite young, and his son wanted a snake, and he saw me posting my first video on Facebook. I never had a YouTube channel, but I always wanted to share with my friends what we were doing. I was getting really excited about making my first clutch, and I videoed it and put it on Facebook. He emailed me and said, my son wants a snake, have you got any available? And I said, well, why don't you come over to my facility? We just built a facility. He came with 3 of his children, spent an hour and a half to 2 hours in the facility handling my snakes, and then they chose the snake and they went away so excited, and the eyes of the children were lit up like it was Christmas Day. And I said to myself, for that reason alone, besides the money, besides the enjoyment of the hobby, bringing joy to people gave me such a kick. I mean, it was the atmosphere, you could have cut it with a knife. The feeling, I felt so joyous. I even forgot that I made the sale because I enjoyed myself so much. And do you know what's happened since then?
It really is.
Ed's coming on the show in a couple of weeks, and he's going to bring his family with us.
Nice.
And he's got all his children. Do you know how many snakes he's got since a year ago? That one snake experience. He's now got 30 high-end snakes and invested a stack of money into them. And he's looking to be a really good breeder going forward, and we're going to do joint projects together. So let me just say, continue to build those relationships, because Justin teaches us a very, very good principle here. He gives a lot of love, and he spent some time with that show. Now, a lot of top breeders may not have the time of day for a small-time breeder just coming on the scene, but Justin finds time for us. That tells stacks of his marketing and sales and natural love, because he's admired because of his natural ability to love people. It's not just about the snakes; it's about his demeanor. You've met him in person. I haven't done that yet, but when he's selling, you build a relationship with people, and one day he will buy a snake from people he sells snakes to as well. So he knows that relationships are very important. So the way to go forward in this hobby is to build positive relationships. And our YouTube channels and these live chats, honestly, I feel like I'm getting to know you much more closer, Tish. I'm enjoying you at distance by watching your content, but to actually have this live chat and to really know what makes you tick and to share these experiences, this is what's bonding in the industry. And I've got UK people lining up to come on the show as well. We've got Kaz and James who are going to be coming in March, and I'm looking forward to my first UK live, because I find the American and the Canadians are more up for this than the UK at the moment. I guess it's part of your culture. You're 5 or 6 years ahead of us. You know, for you guys to have live shows like this is probably bread and butter. But for most people over in the UK, it's a new experience, a little bit frightening for them. But you guys are much more, I find, and that's probably why I've done 6 in the US and Canada so far, and I haven't done nothing in the UK, because the UK people are taking a little bit of time to warm up to the idea of coming on a live show, because they do feel exposed. You don't know where it's going to go. And
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking.
it can be, but you don't come across as though you're nervous about it, Tish. You're very chilled, relaxed. You might be like a swan on the lake, pedaling hard underneath, not showing it, but you're very chilled person, pretty cool. And I really do appreciate your time tonight, because I know that you've got a little one as well. And
I think I actually think he's up from his nap.
Yeah, so I don't want to take too much more of your time. I just think if we may just maybe have another 5-10 minutes, if that's okay, and we'll just very quickly just slide through. Let's see what we've got. Pairings we spoke a little bit about. Your racks, we could go into your rack system, but then but what's really lovely about this is you've got some wonderful videos that people can go and have a look for themselves. Maybe we should allow some of the content to be looked at by the viewers, but I know that you've got some wonderful racking systems, and you're constantly upgrading all the time, as we are, and I think it's important to have the right racks. What is the racks that you're using? Are you using a mixture of different racks?
It's a mixture of everything. So there's SJ racks is where I got the majority of mine from. I got some from Craigslist. I have some sea serpents. I have there's custom ones that I just got bins, and SJ racks would they would custom make them for me. So SJ Rex I don't know if they're still doing it, but when I first started 2 years ago, they are a company in Jersey that does the rack systems. So that's how I got everything through them.
In some ways, it's quite good to have a variety of racks, because you can see which ones work well. And the testimony is in when you show your videos. I was watching one just the other day when you were showing off your snakes in the rack. It was one of your first videos. I thought I'd go back to when you started your YouTube channel, and I thought, you came in off the snow, you kind of walked into this facility, you were super excited to show the new build, because you built that. I mean, we haven't even gone there yet, but you built that facility yourself, which I'm really impressed with.
You actually saw that one? That one's like 30 minutes of embarrassment.
I liked it because
first video.
all your snakes were just so chilled. When you open up a rub, you can see if a snake's happy or not.
Yeah.
Every single snake had its head up away from its body, and it was interested in you, and it had a connection with you, and it was happy. And I can see whether a snake's happy or not. If you've got a head on the ground and it's kind of moping around and it's miserable, something's not quite right. But your snakes were just, to me, I looked at them and thought, they're so healthy and vibrant and loved and cared for, that Tish is a really good snake carer, because you see it in the snakes. And I just wanted to let you know that from another breeder's perspective who does look at these things. And it's lovely to see that, because I know you put a lot of time and energy into your collection. It's something that means a lot to you, and it's not just about making money. It's all about the healing power of these snakes. It's all about how it helps you in your life. It helps you deal with some of the experiences you've had in your life, as it does for me. And there's a lot more to this hobby than money. A lot more.
If it was about money, I wouldn't have stayed this long. Believe me. It's not about money.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, we put in so much money, don't we, Tish? We probably put in a lot more than we get out at the moment, but there will be a turning point. Trust me, there will be a turning point when they will start to pay for themselves. It might take a few years, but we haven't broken even yet. We keep on buying as we start making money.
I'm not even close to breaking even. Not even close.
But you've only been doing it for a couple of years. But give it 3 or 4 years down the line, Tish. I promise you, if you carry on as you're going with your projects, you're going to
This is it. I'm not going nowhere.
But what I'm saying is, in terms of your collection, will get stronger. I'm not saying you're necessarily going to build a massive facility if you don't want that. You want to be intimate with them, that's fine. But what I'm saying is the snakes, the projects I can see coming, your vision, your artistic sides coming through. And I think give it a couple of years, you'll make enough money to invest in your hobby where, you won't hopefully have to go into your personal savings to make it. We go into our personal savings to make it happen to start with. But once we get to the point of maturity where the business side comes in, you'll find that they should take care of themselves, and you can invest extra money into high-end genes and go into some really exciting projects even more. And I think it's lovely, and I think it's, and I wish you well on that, Tish. So thank you for sharing the racks. Let's have a quick look at, now I love both these guys here. So you've got LSR headquarters visit, combining it with the Arlington show, which I love, by the way, and I love both those breeders. You've got Anton there from, he's got the same similar logo to me. Have you noticed? It's a black and white version of mine. I don't know how that happened. I mean, I had a graphic video artist do mine, but I don't know how we both ended up with very similar snakes. But Anton's pretty cool about it. He's a lovely guy, and you've met him. And I think these guys love.
They are also the most down to earth people too. There's probably a handful of people that I know personally, and those two, Bomb Projects and a few others, probably one of the most down to earth people. The more I get to know everybody, the more I can't stress enough how down to earth those two are. They are so down to earth. They were so welcoming.
Yeah. So if we come to Arlington, then they're quite close to there. We need to go and visit the facilities and get to know these guys. And I know that Anton does so much. He was wrestling. I've watched his wrestling video when he was raising money for US Arc. I think his heart's definitely in the right place. He's a big guy. I mean, he's so cool. He's such a cool dude. We like him very much. So it's lovely that you're connected.
He's a sweetheart.
So that's so cool. So you've got here, obviously, we talked about some of the challenges of the hobby, and I was so excited for you when you had the scaleless clutch, and I was so sad for you when you came home. That's a hard one for anyone to go through, and what
that
is
was a tough one.
Yeah, we can move on that one. But I think I just wanted to say realistically to everybody that the hobby is full of challenges, but those challenges make us stronger going forward. Even though it's a painful experience, it will actually help us in the long term. Even though I know it's hard when you go through it, it will. Like I'm tempted to get into scaleless myself. I know it's not an easy project to get into, but what you produced there was absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning looking animals.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I wish I would have been able to see it out there. It was incredible.
Yeah. Okay. And then we spoke about the bamboo leopard ultramel. And then we've got the importance of quarantine. So there's some really good videos out there. So what I like about your channel is there's a mixture of snake candy, practical help, very seasonal, but also you just wanted to help people and explain why it's important to have quarantine. I think it's really good. And then we spoke about your relationship with Gomez Pythons, and he visited you on the new rodent racks. That was a lovely video. I enjoyed watching that one. And then you update on your spring 2021 clutches and what's for sale. And we've spoken about a little bit about selling snakes, and we spoke about the US Arc. So I think that just about covers everything tonight, Tish. So thank you so much, so much. And it's been nearly over 2 hours. I can't believe how much how time.
It doesn't even feel like it.
No, you can just when you start talking snakes, time can just race ahead. Yeah.
It disappears. Time disappears.
Yeah. So just a little reminder for everyone, you can see Tish's channel there. There's the Instagram, you've got the Facebook, you've got TikTok, and you've also got MORPH Market, and you've got these codes that you use here, Tish. Are they, if you scan them, will it take you directly to these sites? Is that how you...
Yep, you can put your phone up to it, and they will go straight to US Arc, straight to my website, straight to my MORPH Market. Yep.
Yeah. So... that's fine.
And then
so
the little buttons on the right hand side, you click on them and they'll directly go to the little Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can click on them and they'll take you there.
Okay. So Jaffe says he really enjoyed the show. Thank you so much, Jaffe, for your questions as well, for helping us with the show. I want to thank everyone who's been joining us. We're going to close out with, I think we'll do Tish's intro. We're going to use it as an outro, and then we'll probably end on mine. So just wanted to say thank you to all our guests. Thank you, Tish, for your time tonight. And
thank you so much.
We're going to really look forward to seeing what you guys are going to be producing, because you've got all these eggs coming, and we're just about building up to the most exciting part of the year, which is the next 3 or 4 months is going to be super exciting. Lots going on. sure there's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be lots of content. So please go and give Tish, if you haven't already following her, go and give her some love. Jump on her channel, connect with Instagram. Thank you again, Tish, for joining us on the channel. And we're going to close out
You're
on
very
your... Yeah, thank you so much. And we're just going to close out now. Wonderful. So it's good night from me, good night from Tish, and we shall catch you next Saturday. We've got Jaffe joining us, and look forward to spending some time with Jaffe next week. Thank you very much, everyone, and it's good night from Tish and good night from me.